Hello, everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear, it's the Bash Brothers, and we are live from the virtual Martinsville Speedway for the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series and the AMA Stock Car Series. And Caleb, it's the old paperclip. What can you say about Martinsville? Talk to me, driver.
Well, it's a unique short track in that it kind of acts more of a road course, just with two turns on each end. You know, you're going to have a lot of straight line braking here. You're going to see some shifting in these cars, which is very rare on these short ovals, especially in these Grand National cars. You see a lot in the Cup Series nowadays, especially with them having 5 gears. But now, since we're in 4 gears, this is one of the few tracks in which you actually have to do a lot of straight line braking and shifting. So this is going to test the drivers just a little bit differently than what they're used to, but it will be a good one here, Murph.
You know, I most certainly do anticipate a good race here tonight, Caleb. The tricky part, there are some tricky parts to this. You mentioned downshifting. You didn't mention braking. This track is heck on brakes, and it's going to be especially difficult if drivers are downshifting into the corners, just simply because you can wheel hop getting into the corners here. And Caleb, if you do that, it's going to kick the car sideways. Well, it's going to do two things. The first is it's going to kick the car sideways. The second is you might run over the guy in front of you. And the third is this track, uniquely among ovals, there are only a couple other ones that I can think of, but uniquely among ovals, this has a curb on the inside. And we're not talking about FIA curbs like Gateway. We're talking about like an actual street curb that runs along the inside here, Caleb.
Yeah, that's definitely going to catch some drivers out. You hit that thing wrong, you're going to instantly loop that thing. Car's going to wheel hop, and you're just going to instantly spin it. So you got to watch out for both ends of the track. It's not just one end, it is both ends. Gateway, it's actually just 3 and 4. That's actually unique about that. But Martinsville, it's going to be an interesting one. There's a lot. It's completely different in terms of the way we've seen most short tracks. The only one we've gone to previously is Phoenix, and that one is a lot faster. It's a lot more flowing with the corners, and it's actually unique on both ends of the track. This one is completely different in terms of how it drives and how it races. It's going to test the drivers to different abilities than what we're used to.
You know, most certainly will. We'll jump on board with James Hodgson, the forward-facing 88. Get a good look at his roof cam, and there's that curb down on the inside, and you do not want to hit that. It will shoot you straight into the wall. But that's kind of what we're talking about here, Caleb. The AMA has a long history at Martinsville. This is the fourth race in AMA, or the fifth race in AMA history here, excuse me. It is the Freightliner 250 from Martinsville. We are looking at 250 total laps, 131.5 miles. Stages at 60 and 120. Fuel will not be a factor here. You could theoretically do the entire final stage on one stop, but we will likely see drivers make pit stops in that final stage if Caleb, we get a long green flag run, which is entirely possible. There are 3 sets of tires in the box. Past winners here, Frederick Leducer and Greg Evans is your defending champion. Greg Evans is going to be a last-minute addition to the field. He said he would be here right at race time if he was going to be here. And Caleb, guess who just logged into the session? It's none other than Greg Evans.
An absolutely last-minute sign-up. He said he was on a business trip, actually, and we didn't know if he was going to sign up, but he until the very last minute when he said, "Yeah, I'll be in time for this race." So good to see him around. We know he'll run very, very strong, but you have to catch up to speed pretty quickly. The leaderboard right now, Blaine Edwards with a 19.5 in practice. Let's see if Greg is able to get up to that speed that quickly.
Yeah, the fast lap, Bladen Edwards, he toured Martinsville at 19.525 seconds. That's good enough for 96.98 miles an hour. The statistics about Martinsville that you need to know: this is the oldest track currently on the NASCAR schedule opened way back in 1947. So this track opened. It was originally dirt, but it was opened almost immediately following World War II. It's been run by the Earl family since its inception, although now it's owned by NASCAR. It's still run by the Earl family. It's a half a mile, 0.526 miles exactly, 12 degrees of banking in the corners, none on the straights. Asphalt on the straightaways, but as you can see, it's got concrete in the corners and that on the bottom in the corners, and that does lead to some interesting traction opportunities in the transitions between the concrete and the asphalt. Capacity is about 44,000, although they did remove some additional seats in 2022, so it may be less than that. And Martinsville is famous, Caleb, for its hot dogs. $2 with mustard, chili, coleslaw, and onions. $2 for a hot dog, supplied by Jesse Jones, which has been the same supplier since the track started selling hot dogs with a brief 4-year hiatus. Go to Martinsville and get yourself a hot dog.
I think I'm going to pass up on that, Murph. I have had it before, and I didn't particularly like it, I'm going to say. I did not like the hot dog.
Next, he's going to tell me he doesn't like tenderloin sandwiches at Indianapolis. The track record here held by Daniel Hemrick for the NASCAR Grand National cars, 20.216. We are half a second under that. The scan here is fairly aged, and so there is a difference in grip in the virtual world as opposed to the real one. This track is a lot younger than the one that's raced on today. But that's what you need to know about Martinsville. Greg Evans is out in practice. He has not yet set a time. It'll show it on the leaderboard when he does. And he's got quite the record to defend here. He led 212 laps in this race last fall, Caleb.
Yeah, an absolute domination from him. We'll see if he's able to replicate that, but he's got to get up to speed quick. We know, obviously, from him winning last year and just absolutely dominating, he knows the track. He knows this track pretty well. However, the car has made has gotten an update since then, so we'll see if he's able to navigate or get up to speed quickly despite that.
We most certainly will. He's not going to have a lot of practice here. Greg Evans has not yet set an official lap. He's been practicing getting on and off a pit road for his first few, and you see the pit road here. If you got to make an unscheduled stop under green, you've basically got to travel at 35 miles an hour for more or less 3/4 of a lap here, Caleb. And it's going to put you 3 or 4 laps down if you have to do that. So drivers are going to try to avoid coming in under green. Bladen Edwards retains the fast lap in practice as the session winds down, and we are just about ready to get to qualifying here for the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. And the drivers, they're looking to get the Simshop Pole Award, www.simshop.com. Just keep driving. We are ready to see who we can put on that Simshop pole. Who do you think we should watch, Caleb? Give me a driver.
I think we need to go with Sam Crow if he decides to qualify. I think he's chosen in the past not to qualify, but we haven't really paid much attention to him in the past couple of weeks. So if he does go out and qualify, I think that's a driver we need to follow.
He is on pit road and he is down and away. So Sam Crow is headed out to qualify here at Martinsville. Track conditions, 73 in the air, 80 on the track. Wind is out of the west at 9. It is just about perfect weather for these virtual drivers. We're going to hop on the roll bar here from Sam Crow as soon as I can find it. And there you go. Sam already working through turn 1 on lap 1. Down the backstretch, Caleb, and we're going to see critically, is he shifting? He is not. At least not on the first lap.
Well, I reckon the first lap is going to be his quick lap because he had a very wide run-up on his outlap. He gets a little bit squirrely through 1 and 2. That's going to hurt him a lot, and he decides to park it on his second lap. And 19.638 for Sam Crow there. That's good enough for second place at the moment As Blaine Edwards goes to the top, that pushes Sam Crow back down to third.
It does indeed. We're looking at Say Hey Lewis Hayes and the Robert Turnbull Grease Monkey Special. The Petty Blue number 43 is on the course, and he'll be on the clock here in just a moment. We'll see it from the vantage point of Say Hey Lewis Hayes as he goes down the front straight to start lap 1. It's you lift really early here, Caleb. This is not a track where you carry the throttle down in the corner. Matter of fact, you're going to be off of it. You're going to be off of it a couple of hundred feet before you get to the corners. You'll see some drivers even start to lift midway down the front straight in the race, trying to save brakes. Lewis Hayes, first lap, 20.125, 13th quick. He gets a little bit squirrely going through turns 1 and 2 on lap 2, but the Robert Turnbull Special is going to come through turns 3 and 4. That Chevrolet Camaro down through the start-finish line, 20.229 for his second lap, and he is going to be 14th quick. Let's move to David Dunwoody. Dunwoody in the number 28. He's got Mose on the side of that car today, and we'll see about David Dunwoody here as he is already on his second lap. First one, 22.724. Caleb, let's see if he can make it any better than that.
Yeah, he's going to come across the start-finish line now.
19.726 for David Dunwoody, and that's going to put him well up the order. Waiting on it to filter through.
I think he's 0x the wall there. It's not showing his laps counted.
He might have 0x the wall. And David Dunwoody, that spectacular lap, 19.726, does not count. That would have put him 11th quick. And Caleb, qualifying is just about over. We've had 21 cars take time. There are 24 entries. Randy Dunlap and Christopher Logan have not yet been on the clock. Dunwoody's laps did not count. And with 1:30 left in the session, Randy Dunlap and Christopher Logan, the two cars that have not taken time, they are not headed out onto the speedway. So I think that we may be done with qualifying here, Caleb.
We are indeed. And look who is currently on provisional pole. The guy with basically 2 practice laps. Greg Evans is on top of the board at the moment. So we'll see if Randy or Christopher Logan decide to come back out and knock him off top step.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that does happen. They've got time yet. Randy, a lap here's 20 seconds, so you could conceivably get a lap in if you left the pit lane now, but we're quickly approaching time where you're not going to be able to get that lap, and so it may be a situation now where Greg Evans can feel secure in that pole position. Do want to thank everybody for joining in on the P1 Broadcasting channel. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. Do want to thank Simshop for sponsoring the pole award for this evening's Freightliner 250 at Martinsville. Check them out. That's www.simshop.com. And do want to thank Outland Custom Arms for their sponsorship of the series. Their mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot. That is Outland Custom Arms. And we are just about ready to get a grid here, Caleb. On the pole with a lap at 90.4119 miles an hour, it's going to be Greg Evans. To his outside, no surprise, Ryan O'Donoghue, second quick, 90.376 miles an hour. Row 2, Bladen Edwards, James Hodgson. Great qualifying run for the Ford-facing 88. He is going to start himself in the 4th spot. Then Sam Crow, Sergio Abella, Trevor Ryan, Troy Carricker, Kendall Paul, and Christian Light. They're going to round out the top 10. In 11th, John Hutchins, Brian Sharp will start 12th. Keith Graham, Mason Muller, 13th and 14th. 15th, it's Crash Neon. Eric Corder is 16th. Lewis Hayes, Ted Craven, Donald Green, and Michael Kirk round out your top 20. In 21st, it's Andrew Gates. No time set by David Dunwoody, Christopher Logan, or Randy Dunlap. Dunlap will start shotgun on the field, and that is your 24 car starting field for tonight's action here at Martinsville. I do believe this is a track we'll get 2 pace laps here. Correct, Caleb?
I think we should. It is less than a mile, so we should get 2 pace laps here. Just kind of get everybody filed in line. That way everybody gets going. You don't have any stalled cars on the front stretch that you got to worry about just if it happens. But so far, no stalled cars, so we're off to a good start here. We're off to a good start.
Yeah, everybody's managed to fire their car up. The pace car is not turning down pit lane, so we're going to see at least one more parade lap as the cars do get lined up on the start. Barney is in the flag stand. He is awaiting the green flag, and we're waiting on bringing it to you. We're ready for 250 laps, 131.5 miles here at Martinsville. Going down the backstretch, headed off into turn number 3. The pace car is just about ready to duck on off, and we're going to get in the Mike Rigney seat. This is up in the press box. Pace car is off. Cars are through turns 3 and 4. Barney's got the green flag in the air. Greg Evans, Ryan O'Donohue will lead them away.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out, and we are underway here at Martinsville.
Yeah, Greg Evans got a little bit squirrely on that start here, but he holds the lead at the moment. Ryan O'Donohue looks like he's going to have Blaine Edwards inside. Looks like he is going to drop back to 3rd and settle in there. James Hodgson in 4th. Sam Crow is going to finish out your top 5. And we got a bit of scuffling back in turn number 4 there. And we got our first caution here, Murph.
We do indeed. The number 54 of Michael Kirk is around. Andrew Gates, Christopher Logan, among others, may be involved. Caution is on the speedway. Cautions in the AMA are brought to you by Admin Box. Race control at the touch of a button. If you're a league owner, admin, you run hosted sessions, go on over to www.adminbox.com and get yourself an admin box. That's race control touch of a button. And here we go. Sergio Abella, Troy Carricker are high here. They get 3 wide momentarily, and then you've got Michael Kirk into the side of, who is that blue car there? I can't make it out. We'll go back one more time. It's the number 1 of Ted Craven, I believe. The teddy bear was a little high trying to avoid the incident. Came down. He and Michael Kirk got together, and in the background, Andrew Gates goes around. I think it's Gates that's actually the cause of the caution here. He was running along with Donald Green. They get into turns 3 and 4. They're in the back, and I think Andrew Gates just spins it out, anticipating contact ahead of him. He gets sideways, and we are under caution here at lap number 4 at Martinsville. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. Do want to thank Outland Custom Arms for their sponsorship of the series. Also, Archway Industrial Coatings. They sponsor the truck series on Friday nights. We are off tomorrow night, Caleb, so no truck race tomorrow. Next race on the channel is the iRacing IndyCar Series presented by 4D Racewear. That's going to come to you at 2 o'clock on Saturday. It's 2 o'clock Eastern Time for the iRacing IndyCar Series presented by 4D Racewear. The good news about caution flags here, Caleb, nobody pits. Say Lewis Hayes did come to the pit. Well, he did come to the pit lane. Everybody else stayed out. So the good news, though, is caution flags here. There may be a few of them tonight, but they're going to happen pretty quick.
Yeah, obviously with a very short pace lap. Pace car lights are out. We should be going green next time by. So the pace laps are, with the track obviously being a little bit shorter, they're going to be shorter pace laps. So obviously that also leads to shorter caution. So it'll be a green flag run right after right after a caution comes out, so we don't have to wait at, sometimes like at tracks like Daytona or Talladega where it feels like you're under caution for hours and hours on end, when in reality it was only 3 laps. So Greg Evans is going to lead them coming to green here.
Barney's got the green flag in hand. Greg Evans in the restart zone, and he gets the launch over Bladen Edwards. Ryan O'Donohue restarted from third, and O'Donohue immediately works to the inside of Bladen Edwards. And we'll see if Ryan O'Donohue can complete the pass and get back to the second spot. Everybody safely through turns 1 and 2, and we work down 2 by 2 into turns 3 and 4 for that second spot. And around goes John Hutchins, and that's going to bring out the admin box caution flag. And Sam Crow hard into the wall. Sam Crow lost it going down into turn 1. I don't know if he heard anything, but we've got 2 incidents that we need to have a look at, and I think Sam Crow just got in there too hot. Here's John Hutchins. He's around the outside through 3 and 4 here, Caleb, and he just breaks the rear end loose. He's going to go around. Cars accordion, they get the old concertina effect going. Hutchins is around. You see Say Hey Lewis Hayes, and unfortunately, he takes a ride off the nose of Andrew Gates in the back. And what happened to Sam Crow here? Crow gets into, looks like he took a slide into turn 1. There's the yellow, so it's after the yellow comes out. I think he cleared in front of the 88 of James Hodgson just as the yellow came out. And he wasn't quite clear, turned him loose. He might have nosed in the wall, but I don't see any damage on the number 8 of Sam Crow. So the Black Acid Machine may be all right. We are under yellow one more time here at the Freightliner 250 at Martinsville. Mark Murphy, Caleb Brashear with you in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. 2 cautions in the first 10 laps, Caleb. Let's see if we can't break loose here once we get back under green and get some green flag action. We've got a nice crowd on hand all ready for the Freightliner 250 here at Martinsville.
Yeah, very quick cautions. They say cautions breed cautions, and with Martinsville, that is especially the case with how narrow the track is, how, it's a bit trickier than other short tracks, and how quick acceleration and how hard on the brakes you get on. That statement of cautions breed cautions are especially true here, Murph.
It most certainly is, and it's one of those deals. If you can get through 4 or 5 laps, get the cars more or less strung out a little bit, just like Darlington. If you can get people, if you can get the cars off the top of one another, you can have 100 laps of green flag racing here. The issue is when you get everybody in a pack like this on a restart situation, and we're going to get into the luxury box with Mike Rigney. We'll get him to feed us a hot dog up here as we get ready to go back to green. Lights are out. Greg Evans will lead away from Ryan O'Donohue, Bladen Edwards, and Sam Crow. And this is a great shot. You can see the entire track from this one vantage point. Everybody safely through turns 1 and 2, but they get 3 wide.
3 wide.
They are indeed. Can they make it work? Keith Graham goes to the inside of Brian Sharp. We've got 96. Right, that is
Christian Light.
Christian Light. Oh, Christian Light is going around. Donald Green piles in, as does Andrew Gates, and caution is on the speedway. And it's, they're 3 wide here. That's not going to work at Martinsville. James Hodgson backs out of that, or tries to back out of it. Christian Light comes down. There's no room for 3 cars there. Light goes up, lightly backs it into the fence, but he stops. And now you've got a caution, and Andrew Gates comes in and spins after the caution, as does Donald Green. And again, the cars are all trying to stop and get out of trouble, and they just run over each other and create a bigger mess. Say Hey Lewis Hayes on the pit road, as is Christian Light. They are going to seek repair here. All cars remain under the green flag, or under the admin box caution flag here at Martinsville, and there's Christian Light. He's going to hit his pit box and see if he can't get some damage repaired. The bad news, if you've got damage here at Martinsville, is this. You can't really sit in your box and repair very long under these caution flags. They're The caution laps are about 40 seconds long, and it takes pretty much 20 seconds or 20 to 25 seconds just to get on and off a pit road. And so Christian Light is already a lap down. He's the first car one lap down. Sahey Lewis Hayes has managed to stay on the lead lap. He came in for further repair, but he was only in his box for 19 seconds. You don't get a lot of time here, Caleb.
No, you do not. But one thing that is on Christian Light's side is that next caution that does come out, he will have the lucky dog. And with us having stage cautions, that's pretty much a guarantee for him. So he will be back on the lead lap eventually, as long as everything goes according to plan here for him. But I honestly don't mind that, as long as you know, if you know you're going to be the lucky dog towards the end of the race, you could get more and more damage prepared now. That way you're not suffering. You may not cut down a tire. I think it's just a safe call for Christian on this part.
You know, it most certainly is. And here's the thing. You mentioned according to plan. The problem with according to plan at Martinsville is in order to get that
happen. It doesn't really happen.
It doesn't really happen. We're getting ready to go back to green flag action. Greg Evans is your leader. O'Donohue is now second. Bladen Edwards third, and Sam Crow fourth. So Bladen Edwards is going to have to deal with the teammates up at the front of this show as Barney throws the green flag on the field one more time. Can O'Donohue get down in front of Bladen Edwards? He does not.
No, Bladen Edwards actually clears Ryan O'Donohue coming off turn number 2. It's your top 4, Greg Evans, Bladen Edwards, Ryan O'Donohue, Sam Crow, and now Kendall Paul are all single file. Behind them, James Hodgson and Trevor Ryan are going side by side for the 6th place position there, but it looks like James Hodgson got that position. Now Trevor Ryan has Keith Graham to his inside. This is the battle for 7th at the moment, and the field is kind of spread out single file all the way back to about 14th place, where Michael Kirk is at, and then it's kind of a cluster towards the rear end of the field.
Yeah, you've got Sergio Abella. He's going through Donald Green. You've got the 0-0 of Crash Neon. Donald Green staying high. He's got 2 cars behind him. That's Christopher Logan and Randy Dunlap. They're going to try to get through. Randy Dunlap goes through. Sahey Lewis Hayes being very careful with his machine in the Robert Turnbull special. Staying high is Christopher Logan. Ted Craven goes through. John Hutchins is next. He's going to try to go past the number 70. And I think Christopher Logan's just saying, look, I want to stay out of the way, stay out of trouble, keep my car clean. But we've got some green flag racing, and this is what we wanted. But you're right. It is a snarl from about 17th on back as Andrew Gates goes high. Back up at the front, Ryan O'Donohue is putting the pressure on Bladen Edwards, and Bladen Edwards has started to lose Greg Evans. Evans has sauntered off at the distance. Remember, we're going to have a stage break at 60, so these guys are going to accordion back together at lap 60. But Greg Evans, safest seat in the house. He's got about a second lead over Edwards and O'Donohue, and then Sam Crow is in the 4th spot. Kendall Paul, a very quiet 5th. He's being followed by James Hodgson and Trevor Ryan. Keith Graham has made the best start of the day. He's up 5 spots from 13th to 8th, Caleb.
Yeah, Keith Graham up 5 spots. Meanwhile, David Dunwoody started 22nd, screwed up his qualifying 0x the wall in both his laps. Now is inside the top 10. David Dunwoody on an absolute charge and is able to keep his car clean for the beginning portion of this race.
He most certainly is. And Dunwoody, there you see on the graphic, he started 22nd, but he's avoided the earlier confrontons, and we've got car around. Donald Green, Ted Craven stopped on the front straightaway. Caution is on the speedway at lap 24. The admin box caution has waved for the 3rd time tonight, and we'll see it here. Donald Green in the 6th. Ted Craven, the teddy bear, way high through turns 3 and 4. He's going to come down. He gets a little bit loose. Donald Green comes up and hard into the wall for the number 6 of Donald Green in front of the teddy bear, Ted Craven. And we are under caution one more time here at Martinsville. Cautions, of course, brought to you by Admin Box. Admin Box is race control at the touch of a button. You can visit them at adminbox.com. If you're a race controller, you run hosted series, you're an admin, get one of those. They are absolute lifesavers. That's adminbox.com So we got some green flag action, and what did we learn, Caleb?
It gets single file very, very quickly here. We saw maybe Blaine Edwards and Ryan Donahue getting a battle up for that second place position, but about 5 laps in, it was very single file from first all the way down to the 17th. And then that cluster towards the end kind of faded out through the next couple laps afterwards. So I think if we get like 10 green flag laps, I think we could go green flag for a very long time. It's just a matter of if we can get those 10 laps to get going.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just all you need to do. It's like a conveyor belt. It's once you get it going, it's difficult to stop, but you got to get that sucker going first. And right now we're just in a situation where the guys can't get off of one another, and cautions breed cautions, Caleb. And we've said it. We've said it before. We're going to keep saying it. We need to get 5 or 10 green flag laps, and we can get this guy going. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. Next broadcast is Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the iRacing IndyCar Series presented by 40 Racewear from Barber. That is 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's a doubleheader on Sunday. You've got the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, and they're going to be followed by the nightcap. It is the Dark Horse CW12 Series presented by 40 Racewear at 8 o'clock on Monday night. A doubleheader, the IndyCar Open Series top split at 8. They're going to be from the Texas Motor Speedway, and then they're going to be followed by the Indy Next Road Series at 10 as the green flag comes out. Racing will resume. Greg Evans gets the jump one more time, and we've got to follow the action back in the field because this is where it's going to happen, Caleb. If it happens, it's going to be from back here around Michael Kurt, Brian Sharp, Randy Dunlap. These are the guys that are just trying to sort themselves out.
All right, man.
And we've got the caution, and it's John Hutchins. One more time, the 72 is around, backed into the fence. Caution is on the speedway, and it appears as though he's going to take a spin off the nose of, say, hey, Lewis Hayes in the 43. And, that's just, again, it's like a funnel, Caleb. Everybody trying to hit that bottom. If you're up on the asphalt in these corners, there's no grip. And so these drivers are absolutely going to fight for that bottom line. And, well, that's what happens when two cars come together. John Hutchins goes around. Caution is on the speedway one more time here. The Indy Next Road Series, they're a pretty cool track this weekend, Caleb. They're at Suzuka.
Ooh, that sounds very fun, Murph.
It does.
I have to give that a whirl.
You should. You're pretty handy in that car too. Tuesday night, it's the flagship broadcast. It's the IndyCar Oval Series Tuesday night top split from Pocono. You've got the Indy Next Oval Series at 9:30 from Oswego. And the nightcap, it's the Area 51 IndyCar Series Round 9, Season 20. That is the oldest IndyCar series continuously run in iRacing. They're going to go at 9:30 from Iowa. Wednesday, it's the Horizon IndyCar Series at 8. Followed by the Formula Super Series at 8:20. And then next week, we are right back here, 8:20 Eastern Standard Time pre-race, 8:35 start. It's the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series from the Rock. It's Rockingham week next week, Caleb. And that's going to be fun because immediately after that, brother, I'm going to leave town.
Yeah. Who's gonna be your replacement, Murph, for your little vacation?
I believe Jacob Collins is going to have the race Friday night from Rockingham, so he'll be joining you Friday night, and then for Bristol, it'll be a combination of Gary Godso and Jacob Collins again Thursday and Friday here on P1. You're really going to have to help Gary out. He is. He's
you think there, Murphy?
He's an open wheel guy through and through. So I may call in and help you guys out Friday night if I can. I've got Discord on the old phone. I I can call up the broadcast and kind of help you guys out with what I'm seeing. Greg Evans, Bladen Edwards, Ryan O'Donohue, your front three. Sam Crow is fourth as we get back to green flag action one more time here at Martinsville. Away we go. Greg Evans will lead it away, and the back of the pack, they continue to stack up right around Brian Sharp in that 12th spot. 2-3 wide, as you see from the speed shot. Down the backstretch, we've got him 3 wide one more time in the back. Lewis Hayes is around. Is he going to save it? Say, hey, Lewis Hayes saves the car. Needs to get it going, though. No caution.
Very well held by Lewis Hayes to not bring that caution out. Kept the car going. It seemed like he was going slow enough to where it would, but thankfully we are still green here. As I look on this side-by-side battle for the 9th place position, Trevor Ryan and Troy Carricker. Trevor Ryan dropped back a little bit. Now he's
Michael Kirk. Michael Kirk is around on the back, and we're going to get another yellow. Michael Kirk has spun the number 54 machine, and that 54 cookout car is coming to rest. And I don't think he hit anything. But he got a case of the wiggles coming off of turn number 2. Spins the car out in the middle of the backstretch, and that's a free spot for everybody behind him. Troy Carricker got really high behind him. He gets overtaken by the 79 of Eric Corder, and as you see that happen, Michael Kirk, big loose coming off the corner, and that's really a challenge here, Caleb. When you go to get the power down on the concrete, and as it transitions to asphalt, it can really, really upset these cars. They don't have a lot of rear grip anyway, and so you've got to be super careful as you exit these turns so that you don't do exactly that. The car will absolutely step out, spin around, and you'll go under the caution flag. One more time, cautions in the AMA brought to you by Admin Box. Admin Box race control at the touch of a button. You can visit them at adminbox.com. Do also want to thank Outland Custom Arms. They are the series sponsor for the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. Their mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot. For our fans at home watching the basketball games, I've got a Purdue alumni that is a Purdue alum that is in the other room, and she is watching very crossly the Boilermakers shooting free throws, now down 1.67-66 to the Texas Longhorns with 6:38 left in the second half. And so Purdue, one of the top teams in the NCAA basketball tournament this year, facing elimination at the hands of what I would consider an underrated Texas team, Caleb. This has been a pretty good game throughout as we work the caution flag here at Martinsville.
Yes, it is indeed, and it looks like we are going to. Again, we talked about how short these cautions are. I was ready to take another little breather, and I'm like, oh wait, we're about to go green again here, bro.
Yeah, you gotta really. There's not really much time. If there's not much time to repair your car here. If you get damaged, there's not much time to relax. Really, you just get a couple of minutes, and you'd better be right back at it. Because you'd better get right. You're going to be right back at it. Greg Evans is going to lead him off.
Green flag.
Barney throws the green flag into the wind, and we're back under racing conditions one more time here at Martinsville. As you see it from the curb there, Caleb.
And we got it spin way in the back there. I think that was Lewis Hayes getting a little bit loose off of turn number 2, but he able to gather it all up, and we are still green here at Martinsville. Currently watching the battle between Troy Carricker and James Hodgson. They go through turns number 1 and 2. James Hodgson on the outside, Troy Carricker on the inside, pokes his nose, and looks like Troy Carricker is able to get that position coming on to the front straightaway.
He is. David Dunwoody has made it through James Hodgson and Troy Carricker as well. Dunwoody up to the 6th spot. Remember, he started way back in this field, started in the 22nd position, and so Dunwoody has made his way to the front as troubles have befallen other competitors. He's also kept his nose clean, and he's managed to avoid contact, but he is now 6th. Meanwhile, Rhino Donahue has started to work over Bladen Edwards for that 2nd spot.
Rhino Donahue, he's been kind of falling back into 3rd on these restarts here. Bladen Edwards has been able to get a very good start on the past couple restarts here, but Rhino Donahue working the rear bumper of Bladen Edwards going through turns 3 and 4. Bladen goes a little bit wide, tries to get a late apex through the corner, and is able to get a good run on these straightaways. And you see the different lines that they're taking. Bladen taking a wide entry into a tight corner.
Caution is out.
Right in front of our leaders.
Yeah, caution is out. It's Donald Green, and I believe that's going to do it for Donald Green. Heavy smoke out of the back of that number 6. Caution out one more time, and there's Donald Green. And just as it was for Michael Kirk, the back end lit up for Donald Green. Car went sideways, and unlike Michael Kirk, he was not able to correct it back to the right, and that car, heavy contact into the inside wall. There's a safer barrier there, but Donald Green, hard contact. Let's get on board and watch what we're talking about here for Donald Green. So he's going to go down into turn 1. You see the transition for the concrete. You see him working the wheel hard in there, trying to keep the car on the bottom. He gasses it up with the wheel still turned, gets off the concrete, and the back end hooks up, and it shoots him the exact direction that the wheel is pointed, and he hits that inside wall a ton. So Donald Green is got some problems with that motor, and he is going to be out of this one. It's interesting to note we're going to start seeing some strategy here with only 10 laps to go in the stage, and tires not a huge commodity around here at Martinsville. We're going to see some drivers start to stop, Caleb. We're going to see some drivers start to stop. Mason Muller, Sehe Lewis Hayes, Andrew Gates, they're on pit road for repair. But it wouldn't surprise me to see somebody like Sehe Lewis Hayes, with all of his experience here, Caleb, actually stay out when the caution flag flies and be the leader when we restart stage 2.
That could be a very big possibility, but who knows? Maybe because of how many caution laps we have, maybe some drivers will stay out, even despite not pitting right now at the end of stage number 1, and try to throw up the strategy, and just kind of hope that we're going to have the caution fest in stage number 2 that we've been getting in stage number 1, and try to play into that benefit if it does happen.
Yeah, there's definitely strategy involved here. People may stay out. They can make it the full 120 laps for both stages on fuel with no problem. And they've had a lot of caution laps, so they haven't had the opportunity for the tires to really get hot and start to wear. And tires, again, not a huge deal around here at Martinsville anyway. Yeah, I mean, you change them when you get the opportunity, but it's not like Bristol or another track where there's gonna be severe tire wear. So it's not really that big of a deal. We may see somebody stay out. Greg Evans right now, he's got the lead, and Greg Evans is going to see the green flag from Barney. Green flag back in the air. We're going to get in the luxury box one more time as we head back to green flag action here at Martinsville, lap 51 of 250, and this is going to be a short sprint to the stage.
Yeah, currently looking on his battle for second place at the moment. Bladen Edwards and Ryan Donahue. And Clendale Paul goes around in turn number 3 and 4.
Yeah, Kendall Paul is around, and that is going to bring the caution right back out. Kendall Paul up the front of the field, and let's see what's happened to Kendall Paul here. Going down into turn 3, and it appears as though, so that was 2 hits from Troy Carricker, but Carricker I don't think was responsible for the second one. Kendall Paul broke. He got hit. He got a tap from the back from Troy Carricker. Carricker then got off of him, and David Dunwoody straight into the back of Troy Carricker, which knocks him into Kendall Paul, and that's kind of the concertina effect that I was talking about. Around goes Kendall Paul. Thankfully, Michael Kirk got him at the end, but thankfully he didn't really hit anything all that hard, Caleb.
No, he did not. And unfortunately, he is not going to go incident free like he did at Darlington. And that was the main factor as to why he won Darlington last week. Well, his car was the only one that was clean at the end of the race. Unfortunately, he's going to have a little bit of damage there with that incident. So he will not go incident free this time around, but I think he has still a very good shot to make his way not only back up through the field, but to get a very solid result here.
You know, he does, and remember, he's going to have the opportunity here. He's stopping with just 5 laps to go in the stage. Caleb, he's going to have the opportunity to stay out and make up some of that track position when the stage break flies.
Yes, he is indeed. A little bit of different strategy allows Kendall to try something different than everybody else that is in front of him besides, say Lewis Hayes and Andrew Gates and, others that decided to pit under the last caution. But Kendall Paul has an opportunity to do something different from our leaders. We'll see if that plays out for him.
We will see indeed. Just looking up and down the scoring monitor or the scoring system here. Nobody else other than say Lewis Hayes took the opportunity to come to pit lane under that caution. So if there is strategy to be made off of that caution flag, Kendall Paul is going to be the only one who will be able to execute it, as Greg Evans and Ryan O'Donohue now in second lead him down to restart this race one more time, and it's going to be a short sprint, just 5 laps to the stage break caution. The first stage is presented by Track Racer. If you go to trackracer.com and you type in the promotional code in the chat, 5% of your order will go to the AMA end of season prize fund. And there's the caution. It's going to be James Hodgson is around in turns 3 and 4, and that's going to be the stage. It'll be called for Greg Evans. And what has happened here? Hodgson is racing there in front of Troy Carricker. He's got Brian Sharp behind him. And there's Troy Carricker, and he turns in, breaks a little bit early. Carricker into the back of Hodgson. Hodgson goes around hard contact with the outside wall, and then here comes Michael Kirk, and that is going to be big-time damage for both the 54 of Kirk and the forward-facing 88 of James Hodgson. Both of those cars now have the meatball as James Hodgson brings his car to pit lane under the caution. He's got the black flag, but I don't think he's worried about that. Entering a closed pit is the last of your worries when you got the meatball, Caleb.
Yes, it is indeed. And getting a meatball at Martinsville is kind of hard to do. The track is very, very much a lower speed type track, so it's very hard to, hit the car. Even though if you get in a lot of incidents, a lot of it sometimes it's just bodywork damage. But it's very rare that you actually get true suspension damage or engine damage that we've seen a couple times here tonight, to where you're going to be completely out of the race because of how low speed this track is.
Yeah, about the only way to do that is nose-to-nose contact when another car's around and you hit full speed, or you come off one of the corners like Donald Green did and just nose into the inside or outside retaining wall at full speed. Those are pretty much the only 2 ways that you can really severely injure the car here. Pretty much everything else is going to be a low speed, bend up the sheet metal or composite body, if you will. But it's not going to really do anything other than just bend it. Do report that Texas and Purdue, for our basketball viewing public out there, are tied 70-70. Purdue's got the basketball with 3:45 left in the second half. Texas just missed 2 free throws, and so that's something that would have had me running in high school. Caleb, got to hit your free throws.
Yeah, sports ball.
Now you're a tall guy. You're a tall guy. If you lived in Indiana, somebody would have handed you a basketball. Do they do that in Ohio?
No, they handed me a hockey stick. They handed me a hockey stick when I was young, and I was hitting people ever since I was like 7 years old, dear Murph.
There you go. Hockey for Mr. Brashear. That is the origins of the Bash Brothers. Both Caleb and I run American flag themed Indy cars. Mine has more chrome on it than yours, though. So there's always that.
Does it?
Yes, it
No,
does.
no.
My entire car is chrome.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Here. Yeah, well, we'll take what you say here, Murph. But the Bash Brothers, as some of you may recall from the second Mighty Ducks movie. That's where we got our nickname from. The Bash Brothers were, I can't remember their names off the top of our heads, but they were basically the goons of the Team USA hockey team in that movie.
Yeah, Nate Portman and was the newer guy, and then there was I remember his first name was Adam. Was the original enforcer for the Division 5 Mighty Ducks. That's one jersey that I absolutely want is a Banks jersey from the second movie. I've got a Forrest Gump jersey. As you see Blade Edwards come to pit lane critically, Greg Evans stayed out. Evans, O'Donohue, Crow, Dunwoody, Sharp, Trevor Ryan, Randy Dunlap all stayed out. Ted Craven and Mason Muller have pitted previously. They stayed out. Sergio Abella stays out. Andrew Gates, the first car on pit road. Gates, Paul, Edwards, Neon, Hutchins, Carricker, Quarter, Christian Light, Keith Graham, Say Hey Lewis Hayes, Christopher Logan, the lead lap cars, all on pit road. James Hodgson and Michael Kirk are under repair for an extended period. Both of those cars have the meatball that they must respect. But as I suspected, multiple cars, 12 of them stayed out. The first car on pit lane was Blade Edwards, and he'll come out 13th.
Yeah, just a bit different strategy. We've had a significant amount of caution period, so we really haven't worn the tires too much. I imagine if we had a lot of green flag running, then it would be completely obvious to take tires at this point. But with probably not even 20 laps of green flag running, I think it's a pretty safe decision if you're at the front of the field to stay out for the moment.
It most certainly is. And look, for me, it's it's an interesting choice. Do I take tires and potentially get in the back of the pack, or do I stay out on old tires and take track position, knowing that it's probably a little bit safer up the front of this field? Greg Evans and Ryan O'Donohue are in the safest spots. They're on row 1. Sam Crow, David Dunwoody, row 2. Brian Sharp, Trevor Ryan are going to make up row number 3. Evans and O'Donohue green flag. In the restart zone, and away we go. Back under the green flag action at Martinsville. Track Racer Stage 1 has ended. Sergio Abella clocks the wall on the front straight, but everybody gets through. As we watch the battle for 5th, that's Trevor Ryan on the top, Troy Carricker on the bottom, and Carricker is trying to be followed by Randy Dunlap. That doesn't quite work. Or excuse me, that's Randy Dunlap on the bottom. I thought it was Troy Carricker. You've got John Hutchins way out of the groove. Hutchins trying to make time on the outside. He's got Christian Light to his inside. Christian Light makes the move, and they've got Crash Neon coming. Neon's going to go to the outside of Christian Light as well, and then you've got Kendall Paul. Kendall Paul looking to get back to the front. Around goes the 13. That is Andrew Gates, and we are under the yellow light one more time here at Martinsville in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. You saw it. Andrew Gates. Now, did he get any help, Caleb?
I think he did. I think he got a little bit of contact there from John Hotchins, the number 72, going through turns 1 and 2, and he just loops the car around and into the outside wall. And what's interesting, if you keep going forward on that replay, he actually spins the car again, coming out of turn 2, and hits the wall again. So not an ideal situation for Andrew Gates.
No, it's a pretty good lick on the front of that car. Remember, we said that that's one of the ways you can get a meatball. And here he is. We're already under the yellow light. He's going to get it going. The rear tires are mad, and he hits the outside wall a ton. Say Hey Lewis Hayes avoids it. Andrew Gates tows it, and he is going to have the meatball. Michael Kirk, Donald Green have ejected from their machines, and so they are going to be classified out of this one. Green 24th, Kirk 23rd, Hodgson 22nd. He is going to attempt to repair that forward-facing 88. Andrew Gates has joined him on pit road under repair as we get to lap 70 of 250 here at Martinsville. Mark Murphy, Caleb Brashear with you here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. We've got a full slate coming for you next week. Off for the trucks, and then there's at least one broadcast every day for the foreseeable future right here on P1. So ring that bell so that you know when we're live. Great iRacing action is aplenty, and we've got a good crowd here tonight. Do want to thank everybody. If you've got a question, hit us up in the chat. I'm more than happy to talk to our fans out there. Always fun when they get involved. The pace car has the lights off, Caleb. What do you say we try to get that conveyor belt moving, get some green flag laps in here at Martinsville?
Yeah, the field did spread out single file pretty quickly throughout the pack here. One thing I do want to point out is that Bladen Edwards has already back up into the 7th place position, so he's already up a significant, despite only, 2 or 3 green flag laps we got there, Murph? And he's already up a lot of track position here.
Yeah, he passed
early in stage number 2.
Yeah, he passed 6 cars, and we're going to keep the camera on him
Green flag.
to see if he can't get it going. Brian Sharp spun the tires on that inside line, and that's going to get Bladen Edwards checked up. Sharp now to the inside of the 45 of Trevor Ryan. The inside is the preferred line. They stack up toward the back. Bladen Edwards can't quite start getting that can't quite start getting it moving forward. Sharp to the inside of Trevor Ryan. Now he's to the inside of Brian Sharp. They were 3 wide there. Soxhawk wants to know who's the underdog to cheer for. At the front, I would probably say Brian Sharp. This is about the best he's run all year. Bladen Edwards is carving through the field. Edwards among the early leaders. But Brian Sharp, Trevor Ryan, David Dunwoody would be guys that you don't normally see up the front all that much on non-restrictor plate tracks, and so give those guys a call. Bladen Edwards working over Dunwoody for that 4th spot. As we've gotten back single file, here's Edwards to the inside, Caleb.
Edwards getting another position over David Dunwoody. He finds himself now inside the top 4, and he's got Sam Crow right in front of him. A little bit further back, we see cars still going side by side. They still haven't quite got single file just quite yet. We see Christian Lyko really wide. We also see way in the back there. That is Ted Craven going very, very wide in turns 3 and 4. So yeah, we should hopefully get a little longer green flag run here, Murph.
We should, and Christian Light did the smart thing. He got in the corner too hot. It shot him up the track, and rather than just smack the fence, he almost parked it. It cost him about 6 spots, but he's able to get the car going again without damage. It just lost a little bit of track position. John Hutchins involved in that last yellow. He's back to 12th, and Kendall Paul, he got looped earlier. He got looped earlier off the nose of Troy Carricker. They're right back together, 9th and 10th. Kendall Paul and Troy Carricker, and they've got it going. They've got it going clean. That's Crash Neon behind them, and they've got Brian Sharp and Mason Muller in front of them, and so we're back to some green flag action. And Kendall Paul looking to see if he can't move up one more spot. We'll jump in his passenger seat, take a look at the telemetry. Kendall Paul through the corners, you drop to the mid 60s in terms of speed here. On the speedometer, and then you're going to get up to 100 and almost 120 miles an hour before you break into the corners. And it's very interesting to watch, to me, Caleb, the weight transfer on these cars as you go around. And we'll have a look at Kendall Paul. Watch the nose for the fans at home. See how it's all the way to the back? It almost slams into the ground, Caleb, as you head off into one of these corners. It's an interesting setup choice to make on front springs and ride heights here, isn't it?
Yeah, you basically want that front splitter. It's kind of like a carbon fiber type piece on these Xfinity cars, and you basically want that thing as close to the ground as possible without causing too much bottoming out there. As we see right in front of Kendall, Paul, Brian Sharp, and the number 24 going side by side on the front straightaway. 24 gets the job done there.
Yeah, that's going to be Mason Muller. He moves into the 7th spot rather. Brian Sharp now under fire from Kendall Paul. Troy Carricker, Crash Neon is going to come through. Hutchins is around in the background, and we've got caution on the speedway one more time. It's John Hutchins. The 72 is around, and let's see what has gone wrong for John Hutchins in that number 72 machine. Down the back straightaway he goes. He's got Christian Light to the inside, and they meet at corner entry. As they do, Caleb, I don't think John Hutchins realized that Christian Light was still there. Around he goes. Say Hey Lewis Hayes comes through. He's seen some action tonight, but Lewis Hayes back up to the 15th spot, so he's starting to creep forward. But Hutchins spin is the reason for the caution, and we are under the admin box caution one more time. Do want to thank Outland Custom Arms for their support of the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. Their mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot. That's Outland Custom Arms. And Randy Dunlap, the proprietor of that fine establishment. There's Randy. He runs along in the 13th spot. Throat started to get a little dry there, Caleb.
Yeah, bottle with you, Murph. I know it's something you don't drink very often. Although, you do drink a lot of Mick Ultras, so that's basically water, right?
There's a lot of water in that 3.5% beer, but it is mighty tasty. For the basketball fans out there, the Purdue alum has wandered back in front of the big screen. 75-72 Boilermakers, 38.4 seconds remaining. Purdue looking to survive and advance here on Texas as we're under the admin box caution. Texas has the basketball, and they've inbounded. They're bringing the ball up to mid-court here. Greg Evans is awaiting the lights to go out on the pace car. And we get back to green flag action. Texas takes a three-pointer. Off the rim, scrum under the basket. Purdue has the basketball, and they've got timeout on the floor. And the Purdue alum in the house is breathing a sigh of relief. There are 3 religions in Indiana, Caleb. You've got your choice between God, race cars, and basketball. And right now, basketball is just about even with racing cars, at least in my house. So there you go. Greg Evans getting ready to lead them away. Bladen Edwards right up tight on the back of Greg Evans, and let's see this restart from the perspective of Bladen Edwards.
Oh, big contact in the back end. Glendale pulls it around on the front straightaway.
Big mess.
Say Lewis Hayes is also around.
Big mess. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is around as well. Kendall Paul was the start of that action, and we're going to get back. We were looking at it to see the restart from the perspective of the 3rd spot, and here it is. That's not Randy Dunlap. That's the 24 of Mason Muller. Lit up the rear tires, and from there, it's just a big stack up, Caleb. Watch the 24 car here. He's gonna light the rear tires. He's gonna get sideways right into Kendall Paul, and they're basically in front of the field. Troy Carricker gets involved as well into the inside wall, and he takes a hit from Kendall Paul, who had just gotten the left rear quarter repaired, and now he gets to come back and restart that process all over again. Caution on the speedway, and Kendall Paul unfortunately got picked up by the pace car, so he may not get a chance to come in and get repair. He's going to have to take the wave around here, Caleb.
Yes, he is. It looks like He does not have a meatball, but he does have a bit of damage to that rear, right rear of that car, and a little bit of front end damage as well, just a little bit on that front grille. So around Martinsville, a little bit body work didn't hurt anybody, but Kendall Paul, he's gonna have to fight his way back up to the front of the field.
He is. Do want to point out Mason Muller, Randy Dunlap both got meatball flags for the contact that they sustained under the latest admin box caution. If you hear muttering in the background, the Purdue alum is staring at a 75-inch television set very anxiously as Texas shoots free throws. 75-73 with Texas at the foul line, Caleb. 20.9 seconds left on the clock as Kendall Paul goes around the pace car, lights are out, and he'll rejoin the rear of the field. Critically, Mason Muller and Randy Dunlap have not pitted with those Well, Randy Dunlap is on pit road with the meatball. Mason Muller has still not answered the meatball flag.
Well, you got to respect the meatball here, Murph. You got to respect the meatball.
You do have to respect the meatball. They will not score him after, I believe, this lap. So he needs to come to the pit lane as Greg Evans restarts. He's got Bladen Edwards to his outside now. Ryan O'Donohue spins up the tires a little bit. Sam Crow to his outside. And one more time, the scrum is really not for the lead. It's back here around the 8th spot. Crash Neon looking to the outside of Brian Sharp. You got Christian Light in there. There's contact. Everybody holds it straight, Caleb.
They're straight so far, but I'm looking at the front of this pack. Bladen Edwards is right on the rear bumper of our leader, Greg Evans. Greg has led every single lap up to this point, but Bladen Edwards on those fresher tires, those fresher Goodyears, is looking to try to make a move. Meanwhile, behind them, it's gotten a little bit more single file. David Dunwoody has gone around Crash Neon for the 6th place spot, and it looks like most of the field is single file at the moment here, Murph.
They are. The lap since last pit tells the story. Greg Evans has not yet stopped. He is on his original set of Goodyear Eagles. Bladen Edwards did stop under the stage brake, and so he has much fresher tires, but it doesn't seem to be helping him out all that much. Ryan O'Donohue has pulled back to the rear of back to the rear of Bladen Edwards, as Greg Evans continues the lead, and he's starting, Caleb, to edge away just a little bit. Ryan O'Donohue is inching ever closer to the back of Bladen Edwards as we get close now to 20 laps to go in this second stage.
Yeah, Greg Evans might have been saving tires that first entire stage here. He's been getting really good restarts, so that's why he's been able to jump out in front as we see Mason disconnect from the server due to packet loss, so he'll be a couple laps down if he decides to rejoin. But right now, our leader's got some lap traffic in front. That is Christian Light in front of, or not Christian Light, sorry, that's the number 21.
It's Sergio Abella. Yeah, it's Abella. Abella's going to keep it high and allow the leaders to go through. That 21 machine is pretty badly damaged. You see Sam Crow go through in the background, and then Trevor Ryan will come through. We are at the front. Bladen Edwards continues to fall backward into the clutches of Ryan O'Donohue. We've got 20 laps to go in the stage, and this is the best battle on the course. It is a tie game now, 77 all, 11.9 seconds left, and Purdue will have the basketball following the timeout. So for those of you following the basketball game, that one is just about in its dying stages. Iowa has defeated Nebraska in the first game of the evening. So Iowa headed to the Elite Eight. And we're going to see if Ryan O'Donohue can head to the second spot. He is all over the back of Bladen Edwards. We'll jump up on the roof. Take a look at Ryan O'Donohue. Bladen Edwards has an interesting line, Caleb. He's going higher, about half a lane higher than everybody else through these corners. He is not tucked right down against the curb like some of his competitors.
No, we pointed that out earlier. Like he He's getting up high on entry and cutting back down low. He didn't do that time, but that's what he's been doing kind of the entire day here. He's been taking a really, really wide entry and then kind of arcing back down on the exit of the corner. And it looks like Ryan O'Donoghue is actually adapted that just a little bit and is trying to follow what Blaine Edwards does as he gets a little bit wide on entry again, but gets a good exit and is able to defend that position from Ryan O'Donoghue.
Purdue makes a bucket with 0.7 seconds left. Texas's desperation heave at the buzzer does not go down, and Purdue will advance to the Elite Eight. So the squeaking you hear is the relief from the Purdue alumni in the house. She is very relieved that her Boilermakers are going to move on. She doesn't get this excited over football, but she does over basketball, Caleb.
Well, when was the last time Purdue was actually good in football?
I think when Drew Brees was the quarterback, and that was 25 years ago. Anyway, Ryan O'Donoghue continues to give chase here. Battle for sixth is in effect. Crash Neon has waded through the traffic, and he is now side by side with David Dunwoody as Sergio Abella continues to circulate very slowly. He is 2 laps down, and Crash Neon has the preferred line, something we really haven't touched on. The inside line is very much the preferred line here, Caleb. You do not want to be caught on the outside because the if there's a line behind the car to the inside, you're just going to go straight to the back, and you're basically going to need somebody to let you in. As Crash Neon is going to complete the pass on David Dunwoody, we'll go back to the battle for second. Bladen Edwards and Ryan O'Donoghue continue to scrap for it. You see the brake rotors glowing on the machine for Ryan O'Donoghue. And that tells you what? There's a lot you can learn, Caleb, by just looking at the brake rotors, isn't there?
Yeah, that's something we very rarely ever seen in these big bulky stock cars are the brake rotors actually glowing. You see a lot of the time in IndyCar, you see a lot of the time in Formula 1. Sports cars, as Bladen Edwards goes really wide through turns 1 and 2, but is able to hold off that position, taps the wall and exit, going onto the back straightaway, and he goes really wide again. That's going to allow Ryan O'Donoghue to get a fender in there, but not quite able to make a move. I wonder if he's killed his tires here, Murph.
You know, it's possible. One of the things that tells me, you see Ryan O'Donoghue's front brakes glowing. They are not glowing on Bladen Edwards. And what that tells me is that Ryan O'Donoghue has a lot more front brake bias in his car than Bladen Edwards does his. Again, there's something that you can learn as we watch from the P1 airship. There's something you can learn from just observing the cars around you, and that's what I'm learning from watching Ryan O'Donoghue and Bladen Edwards, is that Ryan O'Donoghue has a lot more front brake bias than Bladen Edwards does, and that's a setup choice. That's something that these drivers can change in the car. You can move it. You can move that brake bias around, and that may be the reason for Ryan O'Donoghue having a little bit better traction off the corner, is that he's not using as much rear brake, and therefore he's not heating the rear tires up near as much. There's one tap. There's one tap from Ryan O'Donoghue. He's there.
Yes, he is. Oh, is he going to get another tap coming off turn number 4? Not quite, but he is all over that rear bumper of Bladen Edwards. Bladen now looks like he is struggling to make these corners, at least on the entry. He's fine on the exits, except for he keeps tapping the wall. I wonder how that right rear fender has got to be hurting a little bit on that Grand National Toyota there.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing, Caleb. You know, you got to be careful. You don't hit it too hard. Knock the rear end out of alignment. And Edwards power slides the car off of turn number 2. He's going to keep it straight though, as they are now in lap traffic a little bit more severely. That is Keith Graham, and he runs along in the 16th spot. This is by far the best battle on the circuit. John Hutchins and Brian Sharp had just had an entanglement, but those two get everything squared away. Hutchins moves to 8th, Sharp to 9th. But that was more of a Sharp getting squirrely and Hutchins getting through than a true battle as this one is occurring. Greg Evans goes around Sergio Abella again. That's going to put Abella 4 laps down as he continues to circulate. He'll keep it up high and let Edwards and O'Donoghue go through Caleb. We're down to 2 laps to go in the stage. And Ryan O'Donoghue finally moves his car to the inside of Bladen Edwards. He's waited patiently back there for about 30 laps, Caleb, and now he's decided it's time to do battle properly for that second spot. Inside O'Donoghue, outside Bladen Edwards. Final lap of the stage.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan O'Donoghue, he's going to get a good run off the corner, but so is Bladen Edwards. They are still side by side going through turns 3 and 4. They make a little bit of contact, a bit of a bump there, and we'll see who comes across the line. It looks like Bladen Edwards.
Well, it's not where you cross the line. It's when the caution comes out, and the caution doesn't come out until 10th place crosses that line. Now, Bladen Edwards has maintained the lead.
All right, man.
There's the maintained second. There's the caution, and I believe it's going to be Bladen Edwards maintaining that second spot. O'Donoghue will be 3rd. Sam Crow 4th. Trevor Ryan is going to be credited with 5th, and Trevor Ryan very quietly keeps that 5th spot. Crash Neon, David Dunwoody, John Hutchins, Brian Sharp, and Christian Light is the remainder of your top 10, and already everybody is going to head to pit road now, you got to believe. Do want to thank Blackmagic Studios for their support. Blackmagic Studios is a small operation dedicated to high-quality iRacing paints and wraps for any car. Visit them on Discord or Facebook for your next high-quality iRacing paint. I can vouch for that because my Indy Alliance racing machine, the number 69, is a Blackmagic Studios wrap. So go see David Dunwoody if you need a custom paint. He's really good. Everybody has come to pit lane. Nobody stayed out this time, Caleb. Nobody.
No, I think it's a wise decision. It is the longest stage that we're going to have. It always is with the 3rd stage, but it's going to be, with the math, 120 laps. Well, slightly less than 120 laps. Those tires will be cooked if you decide to stay out.
Yeah, you can make 120 on fuel here with the cautions. You can make 125 on fuel under green, but the tires are going to be angry. I don't anticipate that they'll stop under green just because you're going to have enough caution most likely to make it. But you're going to have enough caution to make it most likely. But if you had to do 125 laps here under the green light, you would most assuredly be hurting for tires at the end. One more time, Kendall Paul is going to get the wave around when the lights go out, and we will be going back to green flag action. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. Big crowd on hand. If you haven't already done it, make sure you ring the bell. Subscribe to P1. Hit the like button on the video. Make sure you get in on all of the iRacing fun. We are off tomorrow. Next race up for bids is the iRacing IndyCar Series, 2 o'clock Saturday, presented by 40 Racewear, and that's the best in the business. Full distance action from Barber, which is an awesome road course to behold. Bladen Edwards will restart on the outside, and I tried to do it last. But let's jump up on the roll bar of Ryan O'Donoghue and see what it's like from 3rd spot. And O'Donoghue right on that left rear quarter of Bladen Edwards. I'm not so sure they weren't touching when the green flag came out, but Edwards will get right back in the line. Meanwhile, Trevor Ryan, Sam Crow, they're going to go at it for the 4th spot. Crow on the outside. Trevor Ryan has the position, but can he get to the door of Sam Crow? That's where you got to get. Not quite there, Caleb.
Oh, and we got a spinner that's crashing Neon in the background.
Caution is out.
Crash Neon is around, so too Christian Light. Caution on the speedway, and that is, I don't think there was any contact there. That was more or less just cold tires, and around goes Crash Neon. Caution, back out on the speedway. There you see the battle between Ryan and Crow in front. Crash Neon lights up the rear tires, and around he goes. We're back under the admin box caution flag. Christian Light couldn't avoid it. We're going to go back and get up on the roll bar of Christian Light. We're going to go back and get up on the roll bar of Christian Light. He didn't actually get into it as I thought. He did the exact same thing that Crash Neon did, where he just lit the rear tires up on exit. You see the number 70 of Christopher Logan. He goes through, but caution, back out on the speedway one more time. Caution's, of course, brought to you by Admin Box. Ted Craven will take the wave around, and he gets back to 2 laps down as the lucky dog. It's worth noting Sergio Abella has gone back onto the pit lane to effect repair. He has been there for about 4 minutes now, so he's decided that he would much rather get that fixed than continue to limp around and go laps down here. So Caleb, that's good to see for sure.
Yeah. You guys got to turn laps here. You know the cars will eventually drop off, and it may not be as many, as much as you might like, but cars throughout the race will eventually drop off, and if you're able to stay out there and just get positions over the next course of about 100 laps or so, I mean, it's better than, just calling it quits and parking in the garage there, Murph.
Yeah, we're going to get 118 to go when we get the green light one more time. Out of the race so far, there's 17 cars circulating. Mason Muller, Randy Dunlap, Andrew Gates, James Hodgson, Michael Kirk, and Donald Green are out of the race. Sergio Abella is on the pit lane with significant repair, and so that means that 17 cars are going to take the green flag when we get back to get lap 132. And again, we do thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get on all of the iRacing fun. Greg Evans on the bottom, Bladen Edwards to the top, O'Donohue and Crow row 2 as we get back to green flag action, Caleb.
Green flag.
And Greg Evans gets a very big jump there. That might allow Ryan O'Donohue to sneak up the inside. No, Bladen Edwards able to hold that outside line and slot into the second place position. Ryan O'Donohue in third, Sam Crow in fourth, Trevor Ryan back in fifth, and side by side is John Hodgins and David Dunway, and we got a bit of a scrum behind them. I saw a massive lockup from, I believe that's the number 79 of Eric Corder that did that. But no harm, no foul. We are still green at the moment here, Murph.
We are indeed. Looking back, Crash Neon and Christian Light have hooked up a little bit further behind them. Kendall Paul, Troy Carricker doing battle. They've got the 79 of Eric Corder, the 70 of Christopher Logan in front of them. As you see Keith Graham, he'll work it to the inside of Troy Carricker. But this has been where the action has come from in terms of incidents in this race. It's been toward the back of the field as these drivers continue to try to sort themselves out. Logan goes high, and he will cede the spot to Keith Graham and Troy Carricker. A little bit of contact with the wall, and Ted Craven is saying, look, just please don't let me be involved in any contact. I'd like to get another lucky dog. Back at the front, Bladen Edwards is still chasing Greg Evans and still being chased by Ryan O'Donohue. And these guys have been at it for quite some time. A little bit further back, Christian Light, Say Hey Lewis Hayes, doing battle. Say Lewis Hayes has worked himself back up to the 10th spot. He was 9th. Light took that away and immediately just about spun the car out. Now Say Hey Lewis Hayes into the back. Christian Light. Lewis Hayes backs into the wall. Caution is on the speedway. Now, this goes back a little bit deeper than just that incident. Christian Light and Say Hey Lewis Hayes had been racing for that 9th spot. Christian Light dives under Lewis Hayes, and he got in really hot and kind of gave him the old door shot going through turns 1 and 2. Light then was so hot on exit, he just about spun the car, and he parks it in front of Lewis Hayes. Lewis Hayes all over the rear bumper. Light lifts early for the next corner, and Lewis Hayes right into the back of Christian Light. Hard impact. Lewis Hayes will go around. Caution back out here at Martinsville at lap 138. Light onto the pit lane. Same for the Robert Turnbull special of Say Hey Lewis Hayes. And we're going to continue to circulate under yellow. Yellow is, of course, brought to you by Admin Box. Race control at the touch of a button. If you're a league owner, you're an admin, you run hosted sessions, you need a custom button box from Admin Box. That's Admin Box with 2 X's, .com. Whew. 110 laps to go. The basketball game's first round is over. Iowa beats Nebraska 77-71. Purdue survives a spirited challenge from Texas. Both of those teams punched their ticket to the Elite Eight. One more game to the Final Four for either of those two teams. Which are you a basketball guy, Caleb? I mean, you're not.
No.
So you're a hockey guy.
Not in the slightest. No, I'm pretty much hockey, and that's pretty much it. And lacrosse somewhat, but that's pretty much it.
And that's hockey on grass with sticks, right?
I'd say, yeah, it's pretty much a mixture of that, and I'd say it's like if you combine rugby, soccer, and hockey all into one, and that's what you get. It's very weird when I say that, but it makes sense if you've played the sport before. But there's a lot of complicated things with lacrosse that many other sports don't have, so I can't really explain it other than just saying it's those 3 sports. It'll make sense.
There you go. Meanwhile, green flag back on the speedway. Greg Evans will lead it away one more time. Bladen Edwards gives chase. Front 3 get single file. Sam Crow under attack from the 45 of Trevor Ryan. Now Sam Crow is going to clear. David Dunwoody is going to look to the outside of Trevor Ryan. The Dunwoody will send it in on that outside. He's not afraid to hang it up there. Dunwoody trying to take that 5th spot from Trevor Ryan. Can he do it? Brian Sharp to the outside of John Hutchins behind them. Dunwoody, though, can't keep the challenge going to the outside. We'll get back and look at Brian Sharp because he's got Crashed Neon coming to his inside. Neon will stick it in there. He's not afraid in the 0-0. Sharp wiggles on the outside line. Eric Corder cuts him a break. Now Corder will go through. Kendall Paul looking to the inside of the 125. And now Corder is around all by himself. Caution one more time here at Martinsville. And that just looked like too hot.
Sent it a bit too hard there, Murph. I think that's what we would call it.
Yeah, green flag, send it. Yellow flag, you send it too hard. He got on the brakes to avoid Brian Sharp, and I think he gets in there. He's trying to make up time. He's trying to get by the slower car, Brian Sharp, and he gets way too hard. The lock experts from the A1 Alabama Key Company, Toyota Supra, it just broke loose with him. Carried too much speed, and caution on the speedway one more time for Eric Corder. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, the number 70 of Christopher Logan. They're going to be back into the pit lane for further repair. And how about this? Ted Craven, the teddy bear, he goes around. He's got the lucky dog. There's nobody a lap down, and Craven's 2 laps down. He's saying, look, I can get back on the lead lap here. I can still score some decent points. Christian Light is still in the race. He is now 7 laps down, though, 4 minutes under his current situation. So Christian Light, a little bit more damage than we might have thought. Greg Evans continues to lead it under the admin box. Caution. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. We've got a full slate. Tomorrow we're off, but then we've got a broadcast pretty much every day for the next couple of weeks. So check the listings because it's going to get fun. Open wheelers, stock cars, whatever your pleasure. We've got it here on P1. Greg, they're forming up for the 2-wide double file restart. It's Evans and Edwards, as it's been for most of the day. O'Donohue and Crow. Row 2, Trevor Ryan, David Dunwoody. Row 3, John Hutchins, Crash Neon. Row 4, Kendall Paul and Brian Sharp will make up the remainder of the top 10, Caleb.
Yes, they will. Green next time by, just short of, or just slightly longer than 100 laps to go in this race here at the paperclip. And we'll see if our leader is able to hold off Blaine Edwards for the remainder of the race, and if Greg Evans is actually able to lead all 250 laps here at Martinsville.
Yeah, he has not yet been headed, has Greg Evans. He is he is definitely putting on a show as the green flag comes back out. Racing will resume at Martinsville.
But Blaine Edwards got a really good run off of turn 1. He slots back into second. Coming off turn number 2, it looked like he barely bumped our leader there. Greg Evans go through 3 and 4. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, that is David Dunwoody and Trevor Ryan going side by side. That is for the 5th place spot. These guys have been going at it for the past couple of laps here.
Yeah, and look, nobody wants to cede a spot. Nobody wants to get behind here because look, you know that there's going to be more yellow. The last thing you want to do is start falling toward the back and make it that much more difficult for yourself to get toward the front when it comes time to settle this thing, Caleb.
Yes, it is, and they eventually go back to the single file. David Dunwoody conceded that place to Trevor Ryan, so Trevor Ryan is up 1 place since the restart. And it's fairly single file at the moment, but the battle is a little bit further back, kind of in the midfield. You kind of see that's where the closest battles are at the moment. John Hodgins and David Dunwoody getting very, very close. A little bit further back, St. Louis Hayes gets around Eric Corder. That is for the 12th place spot. So fairly single file here at the moment here, Murph. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, and that's the thing about St. Louis Hayes. I think he's passed more cars here, Caleb, than just about everybody else. He's been from the back up to the middle of the top 10 to the back again. St. Louis Hayes is having himself a day, and we're going to see if he's able to get that Robert Turnbull special back up toward the front. Meanwhile, it's status quo for the 3 that have led for most of this event. Greg Evans has not surrendered the lead since starting from pole. He's led every lap of the event, and he's pulled it out to about a 3/4 of a second advantage over Blaine Edwards. Edwards is once again under fire from Ryan O'Donohue, and there's the battle for the second spot. Sam Crow pretty firmly ensconced in third. We've got a car high. That's David Dunwoody. He gets passed by John Hutchins and Crash Neon. So Dunwoody had a little bit of a moment, and he'll fall back from the 5th spot back to 8th.
Yeah, just a little bit of mistake, and he loses a ton of time. Meanwhile, right in front of him, looks like John Hutchins is actually going to repave that favor, and he goes up really high through 3 and 4, and that allows David Dunwoody to possibly get that position back. David Dunwoody on the inside of 1 and 2. We'll see if he gets him on exit. They're still side by side. Going down the backstretch, David Dunwoody's going to have the inside line, and he concedes that position. John Hutchins goes around the outside, and he is not able to get that position done there, Murph.
Yeah, for Dunwoody, it's a matter of he can see John Hutchins going wide. Matter of fact, let's jump in David Dunwoody's car, and we'll show you what we're talking about. He can see John Hutchins charging the corner. And so for Dunwoody, it's just a matter of, look, I see this guy. I see him driving a little bit too hard. Let him go on ahead and let him make his mistake, and I'll just go right through when he does, Caleb.
Yeah, he is. It's when we're at Martinsville or any short track for that matter, but especially here, you just sometimes got to play patient here. It's one of the more tricky short tracks, so with that, a lot of drivers will make mistakes, so you just got to be patient, bide your time, and wait to pounce when that mistake does happen.
You do indeed. Doing well. Horizon IndyCar Series principal Matty Wagner to the chat. He says next week is Chicagoland for him. Caleb, we just had a barn burner of a race at Chicago on the channel last Sunday. You were in that race with a chance to win it at the end. Unfortunately, caught up in the in teammate on teammate violence that wasn't your team. I wound up third. You wound up on the hook. If you like close racing, though, go check out the highlight reel from that one. It was
we had a tie.
Yeah, we
had a tie for the finish by all definition by iRacing alone.
We did. They figured, the mathematicians in the community went back and figured the winning margin as we watched Dunwoody and Hutchins. The winning, and we'll get back up. Let's go have a look at Ryan O'Donohue and Blade Edwards now, because that's tightened to back up. The geniuses in the community, and there are a lot of really smart people that run these cars, figured out that the winning margin in an IndyCar race at 220 miles an hour across the line, Caleb, was about 90 millimeters.
That's
not
less
a lot.
than a centimeter. That's less than a centimeter. All right, get in mind like how close that is. I think the official time using a third-party source was 1/10,000th of a second. You actually cannot get any closer with a finish than what we saw at Chicagoland last Sunday. You actually cannot.
Yeah, I mean, it was so close that you couldn't tell it in the photo.
Yeah, and while that finish was great, I look back on that race and I'm like, I could have won that thing.
You could
I could have
have.
won that thing. I was in fourth coming off turn number 1, and in turn number 2, I was 28th.
You were, and then, much to your chagrin, you looked down and you saw another chrome red, white, and blue machine drive under yours, and for that...
No, because my car, I did not see that because my car was pointed straight up in the air, so I didn't see that.
But then,
I didn't see a certain...
Whoa, Blade Edwards. Blade Edwards is sideways, and now Ryan O'Donohue has dropped to the bottom. O'Donohue now alongside Blade Edwards. O'Donohue has the position, the preferred line, and let's see if he can make it around the 27 of Blade Edwards. These two have been after it for pretty much the entire event in one form or fashion. Edwards claims second in the middle of the first stage, or excuse me, the middle of the second stage. He hasn't yet given it up, but Ryan O'Donohue makes it around. And that's something that we saw earlier in the race, Caleb. Edwards is quicker on the short haul, but Ryan O'Donohue, the longer the run goes, was able to reel him in and apply the pressure. And now we'll see if Blade Edwards falls into the clutches of Sam Crow.
We will indeed. It seems like his tires are falling off just a little bit. Sam Crow has actually gained a little bit of time that last lap, about 0.3 quicker than Blade Edwards last time around. So these two will go at it for the third place spot in only a handful of laps coming across the line here, lap 170. So I reckon within the next 5 laps, as we see a lap car come out right in front of Ryan O'Donohue, that is Ted Craven. He rides the wall just to get out of the leader's way there. Good on him there. However, last time around, Blade Edwards was faster than Sam Crow, so that gap is widened a little bit, but that could have been due to Craven just getting slightly away on the exit of Sam Crow. We'll see what they do this time around. That gap does seem to be a little bit closer, and Sam Crow is about 1/10 quicker, so that gap is indeed coming down if neither driver has a good, clean lap here. So Sam Crow closing that gap down for third place.
It is, and Matty Wags, I think, has kind of summed it up. The 27, Blade Edwards, is just using his stuff up pretty harshly. Let's flop back and have a look at this battle. It's Crash Neon and John Hutchins. They've got David Dunwoody and Kendall Paul along. Blade Edwards now has blinked out. Blade Edwards has blinked out. He is not coming back either, Caleb.
He's disconnected from the session. Blade Edwards is out of the session.
And that's a tough break for Blade and Edwards. That's just like a blown engine or any other thing in real life racing. You know, our equipment, these computers and the equipment we use, it's very bespoke. It's very much one of one. It requires an ultra high speed internet connection. There are times where things just simply go amiss. The other part of it is, I don't know where Blade and Edwards is, but if you're in the Midwest right now, there have been some severe storms that have passed through the area. I know I lost internet about 6 o'clock today. Caleb, you had yours go down when Middle Ohio got hit.
Right before the broadcast started.
Yeah,
you're panicking a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean. And so it could be, weather in his area. We don't know, but a tough break for Blade and Edwards, and he is not reconnected as of this point. So Edwards right now is 16th. That'll promote Ted Craven to 15th. And we continue along watching John Hutchins as he does battle with Crash Neon, David Dunwoody, and Kendall Paul. This is 5th, 6th, and 7th, Caleb.
Battle for the top 5. These guys have been pretty much going at it. They've been battling, not technically for the 5th position the entire race, but these guys have been together for the entire race. Crash Neon, John Hutchins, and David Dunwoody is now being thrown into that mix of the two in front of them. And John Hutchins gets a little bit wide on entry, but he gets a very, very good exit. We'll see if he's able to carry enough speed to try to get to the rear bumper of Crash Neon. Not this time, but David Dunwoody seems to be the fastest of the three here. Murph. Crash Neon did a 20.8 last time around. Meanwhile, the two drivers behind him both doing 20.7. So we'll see what happens. John Hutchins all over the rear bumper of Crash Neon now.
Hutchins moves to the outside groove. Crash Neon trying to hold on, and I think he's suffering from kind of the same thing Blade and Edwards did earlier, where he's kind of used the good on the good years up. Let's jump up on the roll bar of John Hutchins and see what he sees. Crash Neon wrapping the bottom curb, Caleb. John Hutchins about half a groove higher. He's running the same kind of line we saw from Blade and Edwards earlier, where he's not wrapping the bottom. Caution is on the speedway. It's Eric Quarter. Right in front of the leader as well. Brian Sharp got loose coming off of turn number 2. Quarter is right behind him, and Quarter broke a little bit late for turn 3, and he tries to turn with half the car on the asphalt, half the car on the concrete. That does not work, Caleb. Around he goes. And Ryan O'Donohue gets into him.
That is ideal at all. Ryan O'Donohue having a bit of damage. That's not what he wanted to see, especially when he's trying to hunt down the leader of Greg Evans. Is try to, dethrone Greg Evans of leading every single lap here at Martinsville, but that's probably not going to happen. However, every single driver is coming down pit lane now for a new set of tires. We'll see what happens on this restart here with some fresh Goodyear rubber.
We will. There's Ryan O'Donohue. Does he allow the repair to happen? He does not. He's on the pit lane for 14 seconds, and the nose or the hood on that Chevrolet is wrinkled. Let's jump back up on the roll bar. It hammered out a little bit, but Ryan O'Donohue may still have some damage on that number 14 machine. There it is, and you can see the dent in the hood. It's not quite straight, Caleb. We just hope that it's cosmetic and it's not anything. Not anything underneath.
Yeah, that's the last thing he wants. I think he would have came down and been in pit lane a little bit longer if it was something like suspension damage or anything like that. But it seems that maybe just be a little bit of bodywork damage. Of course, I have a track like Martinsville where you aren't really using the aerodynamics of the car very much. I think he's going to have a good run here to attack our leader, Greg Evans.
You can. Now, Caleb, talk about what you do if you're Ryan O'Donohue to kind of... He's got some teammates around him, so he can ask Greg Evans to look at it. He can ask Sam Crow to look at it. But what can he do from the cockpit to kind of assess whether he needs to take the optional damage or not? What can he do?
Well, the number one thing is if you want to check for engine damage, you use the clutch in method and see if you're still idling at 2,000 RPM. That to me is if that's not happening, that you got some big problems there in terms of the engine, and that's probably your race done. In terms of suspension damage, you just got to make sure the wheel is straight coming off the corner exits and entries. Kind of hard to do under caution, but it is. If you get, a little bit of a gap and then go for a little bit and see how the car handles, that typically is what I would do to check to see if there's any suspension damage in these big, bulky stock cars.
You would. It does appear that he's up to full song. I'm looking at the steering wheel when he comes down the straightaway, and I don't know. It might be cocked off a little bit to the left. We'll look at Greg Evans just to see. Well, Evans is at the same deal. Those guys may have their offset set that way, even though it's a fixed setup race. You can change the angle at which the steering wheel goes on, and so that's one of the ways that you change how the car drives, and that appears to be how those DVD Motorsports cars have just set their cars up. As a round goes to 45.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Trevor Ryan is around. Caution is on the speedway at lap 190 of 250. And let's see what we've got happening here. He's in a scrum with David Dunwoody and John Hutchins. Is Trevor Ryan. Hutchins and Dunwoody side by side. What have we got here? Ooh, Dunwoody just got a great run through the center of the corner, and Trevor Ryan was there.
Yeah, it is a bit of miscommunication there on the exit of turn number 4, but both drivers don't seem to have too much damage from that, so we'll see how they are. Unfortunately for Trevor Ryan, he's going to have to start at the back of the field here. Fortunately, yeah, we're pretty thinned out at the moment here, Murph. 12 cars on the lead lap, so he doesn't have to worry that much. Meanwhile, we see Kendall Paul come down to pit lane.
And that's worth it. If you're Kendall Paul, you're going to see Ted Craven as well. Ted Craven 2 laps down. You're going to see some of these guys that are toward the back of the lead lap come in, start fixing damage, and get their set of tires. You're going to see that start to happen because if you're back there, you're Kendall Paul, you're already the last car on the lead lap anyway. What's the harm in coming in and getting some damage fixed and getting 4 new tires? There is none, and it might help you later on. It's also worth mentioning, Sahey Lewis Hayes has hit everything but the lotto tonight. He was involved in several of the earlier cautions in the Robert Turnbull special. And there he is, man. He's up to 6th spot. So don't count out Sahey Lewis Hayes. David Dunwoody is 7th. John Hutchins is 5th. Both of those cars have been involved in incidents. So too Brian Sharp. That car is pretty crumpled up. Troy Carricker has been involved. Pretty much everybody has been involved in contact with the exception of Evans and O'Donohue. And the car count tells that truth. There are only 14 cars remaining, 13 of them on the lead lap here at Martinsville.
I actually believe Greg Evans is the only one that has not been in an incident.
That's true because
Ryan O'Donoghue had that contact. I think very early on he had an incident with another car, and then 2 cautions ago he got collected in the spun car of Eric Corder.
Yeah, you're right. So really only Greg Evans is driving the only unhurt vehicle on the speedway. Everybody else has had some sort of contact that they've needed to have repaired. We are getting down to the last 56 laps here at Martinsville. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get on all of the iRacing fun. It's the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series for the AMA and iRacing here on P1 as Greg Evans gets the green flag. He'll hit the loud pedal and he will streak away. O'Donoghue is going to slide into the 2nd spot. Maybe. Sam Crow doesn't let him in. Sam Crow is going to try to go for 2nd here as O'Donoghue gives the wall a kiss coming down the back. Now Sam's going to let him in, I think.
No, he's not. Sam Crow is in Okay, now it looks like he's going to let him in. They went side by side off turn 4, but Ryan O'Donohue able to clear off of the corner there, coming onto the front straightaway. And we got, ooh, it looked like Crash Neon almost was going to loop it, saved it. Coming off turn number 2 in a big contact.
Whoa, Brian
sliding.
Sharp. Hang on, driver. Hang on, he held it. Brian Sharp hung on. He held it. He held it.
No caution.
Watch this. He gets into Crash Neon. That car was 45 degrees sideways. It was going to head back toward the fence. Brian Sharp manages to save the automobile, keeps moving forward. Green flag stays out, and it just costs him a little bit of time back to the 12th spot for Brian Sharp. Meanwhile, they are still going after it. That's Crash Neon. Lights up the rear tires coming off of 2 as he gives chase to Trevor Ryan. This is best battle on the track. It's Crash Neon and Trevor Ryan. This is for 8th and 9th, Caleb.
Yeah, closest battle on track at the moment. These guys have been inside the top 5, battling at one point or another, but they have recently gotten themselves into incidents. So now they're going to have to fight their way back up if they want to get back inside that top 5.
Crash Neon drives it big deep on Trevor Ryan, and he'll claim the 8th spot. He came from the 50-yard line and sent it to get past Ryan, move Ryan back to 9th. Crash Neon up to 8th. Next best battle on the track. Well, it's still this one. Back at the front, they've gotten kind of single file, and it's the DVD Motorsports cars. 1, 2, 3. Greg Evans leads it. Ryan O'Donohue second. Sam Crow has matriculated back into the 3rd spot. John Hutchins is 4th. There he is. David Dunwoody is 5th. And Hey Lewis Hayes, the 4th car in that DVD squad, is 6th. And so those cars are pretty much run rampant tonight. There's 4 of them in the top 6, Caleb.
Yeah, absolute dominance from that team there. And so it helps when you're all communicating together with that, and that could go a long way with these guys, and it shows that these guys really know the track of Martinsville very, very well. All drivers within the top 5, and just kind of dominating the race so far. They're 1, 2, 3 in the race. They've been doing very well so far. Still just under 50 laps to go. We'll see if it maintains that, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Greg Evans about 0.7 of a second ahead of Ryan O'Donohue. You're looking at the battle for 7th. Troy Carricker, Crash Neon 8th, and Trevor Ryan has rejoined Crash Neon. He is 9th. Those are the only cars really that are in contact with one another. Everybody else is kind of pretty evenly spaced out here. David Dunwoody closing back in on John Hutchins, and we'll rejoin that if he gets there. But Crash Neon, he's going to send it to the inside on Troy Carricker one more time.
Yeah, Crash Neon looking up the inside, going into turn number 1, and he's able to clear Troy Carricker. Well, not quite.
He does now, and here comes
now.
Yeah, he does, and here comes Trevor Ryan. He's going to follow through. So Troy Carricker is going to go from 7th to 9th in the space of 4 corners. Crash Neon gets through. Trevor Ryan gets through. Kendall Paul is there in 10th. Kendall Paul has been under significant repair, although he does have the freshest tires available. David Dunwoody has fallen off the back now of John Hutchins, and he's fallen into the clutches of Hey Lewis Hayes, and so we'll keep an eye here. The stat that's going to jump out for you on this one, though, is Greg Evans. He's led 206 of 208 laps. He's only been headed very briefly during pit stop cycles. So those are situations in the pits where somebody went past him very briefly at the scoring line. There's Shelby Carricker. Do want to welcome her into the chat, supporting her man. There's Troy. He runs along in 9th. He's had himself an interesting day. He's been as high as 6th, as low as 19th. But he's securely and firmly ensconced inside the top 10 now. So there's Troy Carricker. everybody now has kind of sorted themselves out. Greg Evans is in lap traffic. Now he's got 38 laps to go here, Caleb. What does Ryan O'Donoghue need to close that 0.8 of a second gap as the number 70 of Christopher Logan gets in the wall? What does Ryan O'Donoghue need to do here?
Well, one thing, first thing he needs to do is manage those tires. You want to be quick, but you don't want to be to the point where you're absolutely just scrubbing the tires away to where you have no life at them at the end of the race. So while you want to gain as much time as you can't kill your tires at the same time. The other one is, since we're getting up to lap traffic now, is managing that lap traffic. That has been a determining factor in the past of these lead battles that we've had. You know, lap traffic has gotten involved in the past here in the AMA Grand National Series this season. So it's just a matter of those two things, in my opinion. You got to manage your tires and you got to manage the lap traffic if you want to get past and not only get past, but even catch up to Greg Evans at the moment.
Yeah, and Greg Evans has a huge advantage. He is the leader, and so you know when you're a lap car, you see the leader coming. It's kind of natural in these situations to pull over. You see Keith Graham getting out of the way. It's kind of natural to pull over for the leader. You may not necessarily extend that same courtesy to second place. And so Ryan O'Donoghue is fighting that. You see Evans going underneath Brian Sharp. Sharp is going to let Ryan O'Donoghue go as well. But it also matters where you catch them. A guy can be trying to get out of your way all he wants, but you saw there with Ryan O'Donoghue, Brian Sharp was trying to get out of the way, but he was at the exit of the corner where Ryan O'Donoghue wanted to go.
Yeah, it's just a matter of where, in that situation, you just got to be patient, just make sure you get him on either corner entry or corner exit. And you see all the time in multi-class drivers going through like a slow section. They got, you know, the prototype drivers trying to get past a GT, but they're going through like a slow section of possibly like this, like in Sebring. We just saw that over the past weekend. You know, prototype drivers, they just have to be patient and just follow the GT car behind and just wait to make a move on the straightaway. So sometimes you just got to sacrifice that just to keep the car in one piece and to try to gain as much time as possible.
Yeah, you most certainly do, and you know, there's places like that, the bus stop at Daytona when you're in an endurance race, the S's at Road Atlanta. You really just, you know, if you catch a slower car in the wrong spot, you just have to follow them. I mean, there's no two ways about it. We're going to get back to three cars that have been following each other. David Dunwoody 5th, Lewis Hayes 6th, Crash Neon 7th, and Trevor Ryan 8th, and those cars have all caught each other one more time, as you see Crash Neon start to work the back of Lewis Hayes, and he's got Trevor Ryan working the back door of the 00. This is 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, all pretty much right together on the track, and this is the best and really only battle. Kendall Paul has caught Troy Carricker. There they are. Both of those cars have some damage to them. I don't believe either one is up to full song, and you can see the damage to the rear of both machines. But Kendall Paul would like to have another spot. He is involved in the championship fight, and so, you know, a position's a position. It doesn't matter really how you get it, Caleb. You want to make sure you get it if you can. Greg Evans leads those point standings by 48 over Peyton Howell. Peyton Howell not in the field this evening, but Kendall Paul is third, and so he would most certainly like to finish as high as possible to close the gap between himself and Peyton Howell.
Yeah, big championship point game with Peyton Howell not being here this week, and that's one thing you got to capitalize on. When a driver can't show up to a race, you got to capitalize as many points as possible. And Kendall Paul, while he's in the top 10, it could have been better. He's been inside the top 5, so he hasn't really optimized the best possible result of what he's been given here tonight. So it's not a bad points haul for him over Peyton Howell, but it certainly could be a lot better.
Yeah, it certainly could. We'll go back as Kendall Paul and Troy Carricker do battle for that 9th spot. We're going to go back and continue to look at this because these four cars are not sparing the rod. They're going after each other pretty hard. You see David Dunwoody, he's maintained his advantage over, say, hey, Lewis Hayes, but Lewis Hayes has kind of been inching forward. They both ran identical lap times the last time through. I think the fastest car in line that time was Trevor Ryan. The problem is he's got Crash Neon in front of him, and Neon has been reeling in, say, hey, Lewis Hayes.
Yeah, and they got 2 lap cars right in front of them, Keith Graham and Christopher Logan. Those guys are going to battle for the 12th spot, so those guys probably won't actually, as I say that, Keith Graham gets really out of the way. He's going to let these group of 4 cars go by. Keith Graham goes to the high side, and it's going to affect the exit of St. Louis Hayes and going into turn number 1 for St. Louis Hayes, but Keith holds the high line, so now that allows Crash Neon and Trevor Ryan to be right on the back bumper of St. Louis Hayes.
Yeah, it does, and that's just an example of catching lap traffic in the wrong spot. Dunwoody squirts away, but say, hey, Lewis Hayes falls into the clutches of Crash Neon, and Neon would love to have another spot here at the expense of, say, hey, Lewis Hayes, to help bolster his own championship chances. Crash Neon is 8th in the points right now. He's chasing David Dunwoody, and so he would love to get another spot. He would love to get another spot and maximize his points haul here tonight. Again, try to move as close to Peyton Howell as possible. And that's something that we really don't touch on. This is not these guys aren't racing for $1 million out here. They're doing this. It's a hobby. It's a fun one, Caleb, but it is a hobby after all. And so these guys, they go on vacations, they have family obligations, and so forth, and you miss races from time to time, and everybody, in these leagues knows that, there are drop weeks and so forth to account for that, and so, it's missing a race isn't necessarily the biggest of deals, is it?
No, it's not. And again, like you said, this is all for fun. And even broadcasting this, we're doing this for fun most of the time as well. We're enjoying watching these races, commentating them, broadcasting them, and the drivers are enjoying driving them. They, I would like to think they're all friends here and they all get along. They all hang out with each other. And even, despite some incidents on track, they're all good buddies with each other. So it's all in the name of fun and, just to have a good time.
I'll tell you who's having some fun. Kendall Paul has worked his way past Troy Carricker, so move Kendall Paul to 9th, Carricker to 10th, and I think that's pretty much the way that's going to stay. Carricker has a little bit more damage than Kendall Paul. We're watching, say, hey, Lewis Hayes 6th, Crash Neon 7th, Trevor Ryan in 8th. This is by far the best battle on the racing surface as they slug it out to see who is going to finish 6th. David Dunwoody has gotten away a little bit, and they've got Brian Sharp in between Dunwoody and, say, hey, Lewis Hayes. But look at the difference in braking between Trevor Ryan and Crash Neon. Trevor Ryan gets in a lot harder than Neon. He closes the gap, and the Neon just pulls away down the straightaway. And you can tell where they're braking by when that splitter hits the ground. Just watch how much later Trevor Ryan's front nose goes down as opposed to Crash Neon. Continue to work around Martinsville, coming up on lap 238 of 250. Say, hey, Lewis Hayes is now pulled away a little bit from the battle between Crash Neon and Trevor Ryan, which remains the hottest one on the racing surface. And it's just a matter of time, Caleb, before Trevor Ryan late breaks it enough and, maybe moves Trevor Ryan out of the way.
Well, as you say that, he gets a little bit squirrely coming off turn number 2. That's going to cost a little bit of time to him. He's dropped back to about 3 to 4 car lengths, but Crash Neon has the lap car of Brian Sharp right in front of him. Sharp goes a little bit wide, kind of rides, half a lane up from where he wanted to be. Crash Neon looks up the inside. Brian Sharp gives him the bottom, but doesn't completely give it to him. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. And now Trevor Ryan is looking up the inside of the lap car, sends it deep, and gets around him. Now these guys are finally back together, and they're going to go at it to the end.
They are indeed. We're coming up on 9 laps to go here at Martinsville in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. Trevor Ryan doing battle with Crash Neon for the 7th spot. This is the closest and really the only battle for position that's in contact. Everybody else is a second or two away from each other. Greg Evans is your leader. He's got a couple of seconds in hand on Sam Crow. Crow is a whopping 7 seconds ahead of John Hutchins, and then second and a half to David Dunwoody, 1.2 seconds back to Lewis Hayes, another second almost back to these guys. You can see say, hey, Lewis Hayes there, so that's the interval. But these two are really the only 2 cars for position that are in close contact. And you know, it's interesting to see Trevor Ryan and how hard he's driving into the corner and how little that gains him overall on the lap.
Yeah, it's just a different line. I noticed Crash Neon is just kind of, he's being very, very patient with how he's driving these corners. He's being very smooth on entry, very smooth on exit. He's not oversending anything. Meanwhile, Trevor, he's kind of sending in deep, going into both ends of the track, kind of does a diamond shape. Crash Neon gets a little bit into the wall coming off turn number 2. And what I was saying is Trevor Ryan kind of like does a diamond shape where he kind of turns in early, gets a little bit deep, and then cuts down hard on the exit corner to try to get a good run on the straightaway. And meanwhile, Crash Neon is just kind of, saving the tires at the moment, kind of right in the apex of the corner, right in that curb. And it's kind of equaled out with these two. They're doing 2 different lines, and it's 2 different strategies. Meanwhile, they both have caught, say, Lewis Hayes right in front of him, and now Crash Neon's on the rear bumper of the blue number 43.
Yeah, say, hey, Lewis Hayes and the Robert Turnbull special lost all that time that he had gained on Neon and Ryan, and he's fallen back into the clutches of Crash Neon as we head to 3 to go. Next time by, we're going to get back to Greg Evans because he has turned in what is a dominating performance, not just for himself. He's led all but 2 laps here, but also the team. Ryan O'Donohue, Sam Crow are his DVD Motorsports teammates. They're second and third. Say, hey, Lewis Hayes trying to make it 4 in the top 6. Crash Neon way out of shape coming off the corner, and say Lewis Hayes gets a bit of a breather. He'll extend that advantage out to 3 car lengths, and they are not too far ahead of Greg Evans. He's behind Brian Sharp and Kendall Paul as he's going to come around and grab the white flag from Barney. This will be 1 lap to go here, Caleb.
Yeah, and that battle has pretty much spread out between, say, Lewis Hayes, Crash Neon, and Trevor Ryan, unless we see some shenanigans of a Ross Chastain wall ride. I think this battle is going to pretty much just settle in, or if any of the drivers make a mistake. Meanwhile, just behind them of this battle in front, Greg Evans comes out of turn number 4. He's going to win here at Martinsville.
Barney throws the checkered flag in the air. Greg Evans is your winner. Ryan O'Donohue spins! O'Donohue spins coming off of turn number 4. Sam Crow will be second. O'Donohue! He's broken the steering. He'll be 4th. Oh, no. Ryan O'Donohue spun on the final corner, broke the steering in the car. What has happened to Ryan O'Donohue? He's way high coming off of turn number 4. He gets in the gas and spins the car. And he can't get it in. Now he gets it in reverse. And it's broken. It won't turn, Caleb. My goodness gracious. And there's the finish. John Hutchins will sneak into the 3rd spot.
Wow.
Holy mackerel. Ryan O'Donohue disappointed again. The my goodness. The Rogue Energy winning moment is brought to you by RogueEnergy.com. Use promo code AMA24 and get 10% off your order. That's Rogue Energy. You need to pick me up. RogueEnergy.com, AMA24, 10% off of your order. Greg Evans burns it down here at Martinsville. For the win, it's going to be Greg Evans. Sam Crow is second. John Hutchins is an unlikely third from Ryan O'Donohue, who spun coming off of turn number 4. He got nipped at the line, and look at that margin. My goodness sakes. 51 thousandths of a second between Hutchins and O'Donohue. David Dunwoody, he'll bring it home 5th. Lewis Hayes is 6th. That's 4 DVD cars in the top 6. Crash Neon 7th. Trevor Ryan 8th. Kendall Paul 9th. On the lead lap, Troy Carricker 1 lap down in 10th. In 11th, Brian Sharp. He's 1 lap down as well. Keith Graham and Trevor Logan 12th and 13th. Christopher Logan 2 laps down. Ted Craven is credited with 14th, 27 laps down. Out of the race, Eric Corder, Bladen Edwards, Christian Light, Sergio Abella, Mason Muller, Randy Dunlap, Andrew Gates, James Hodgson, Michael Kirk, and Donald Green. Whew. Who says this isn't exciting, Caleb? Let's see if we've got anybody in the interview room. There's John Hutchins. John Hutchins, you've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy, man. How y'all doing, guys?
How surprised were you to come off the final corner and see the 14 smoking the rear tires with a broken steering, trying to inch along the inside wall? What were your thoughts in that moment?
I've been given a gift. It's a good race all night. I mean, few cautions, but we got through several of them without any major damage, and it's just good to come out on top every now and then, or toward the top.
Indeed, Caleb. What do you have for Mr. Hutchins this evening?
Well, I'm still trying to analyze this finish, and it's just kind of incredible that that gap of third of you're so far back to Ryan O'Donohue getting in third, or to get that third place spot, and then it just kept getting closer and closer, and then you barely edged him at the line. I mean, that's just, from all I gotta say, that's pretty incredible to sneak third away from him like that.
Yeah, it was. I was just sitting back, kind of running out the laps, and I was very surprised to come around and see him sitting there. But we'll take it, move on. I was happy with the top 4, but I'm really happy with the top 3. So.
Hey, anytime you're on the podium in any race you're in, you've had a good night. So congratulations on that, John.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, no, thank you for coming, and it was entertaining watching you guys tonight. With that said, friends, family, sponsors, shout outs, the floor is yours. You got the mic, my man. Go for it.
Yeah, I just want to thank my family for always backing me in whatever I do, and thank my Heavenly Father, and my church family, the Place Worship Center on the side of the church, on the side of the car. They support me and watch. So I just want to thank my teammates too. I hated that Mike and James got tied up, and then Kendall, he did finish in the top 10, I think, but got tied up in a little incident, and felt bad for them guys. But got a great group of guys I race with, and it's because of some of them that I was able to avoid the wrecks. So I just want to thank them for letting me be a part of the team.
Absolutely, John. Well, we're definitely glad to have you. Definitely happy to see you up on the podium. Thank you so much for stopping in and stopping by. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
All right, yeah. Thank you for what y'all do, man.
Absolutely. That is John Hutchins. He runs in the third spot, rather. We will get him back into the waiting room, and we'll bring down Sam Crow. Sam, you've got Murph, and you've got Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. I wanted to say you got Murphy and you got Sam Crow in the broadcasting booth, but
Well, you do technically.
well, I do have Sam Crow in the booth, but you're on the other side of this one. So I'm going to ask you the same question. You, Greg, and Ryan dominated the race tonight once Blade and Edwards disconnected due to packet loss, and you're sitting there. You're gonna come home third. What are your thoughts as you come off the final corner and see Ryan O'Donoghue spun?
We are just. It just floored me. I could not believe that we took the white flag, and then I wasn't going to say anything until we got Greg got out of 3 or 4, and then I said, "Great job, guys," is what I said in our comms, and we were excited, and you're just really happy about our performance tonight, and then coming out of 4, I don't know, Ryan would have to answer for himself, but I think that he was on the comms button and he may have put a little too much wheel input or got out of the concrete, and the back end just came around on him, and it was just as much a surprise to me as it probably was the viewing audience. I was shocked, and I was, are you all right, Ryan? You okay, Ryan? It was just very unfortunate, just very unfortunate. Because he's racing with a severe injury tonight. He injured his hand today at work.
Yeah, that's no fun. I can vouch for that, as you know.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that, as you know.
Crashing in the outhouse don't count.
Yeah. Well, I've done that too. Caleb, what do you have for Sam Crow this evening?
Well, you kind of had relative to everybody else, you did kind of have a very quiet night compared to everybody else. Just a matter of keeping your car clean, I guess. What did you do differently compared to everybody else to keep, out of incidents of everybody else?
Well, I'm the kind of person that tries to race within their means. I knew that I did not have the pace that Greg and Ryan and Bladen had. I knew, and probably maybe 1 or 2 other guys, I didn't think that I may have had the pace. James Hodgson was very strong. We got an early caution, and I let up off the gas, and then I haven't looked at it, but I may have drifted up a little bit to him and didn't realize he was out there, and we kind of I got just a little bit of damage out of that melee there, but we didn't lose track position. James was incredibly fast tonight, and I do want to give a shout out to Trevor Ryan. Trevor Ryan raced me so clean tonight, he and Kendall Paul, and because I was starting on the outside so many times, and I was just having to really kind of race these guys hard so I didn't lose track position out on that outside line. And but those particular drivers were very kind and gracious and racing me clean and not giving me the boot. So once I could clear those drivers and just fall in behind Greg and Ryan and Bladen, then I knew that I could probably just hold pace right where I was. I was in my spot. I really felt like I was where where my speed was.
Well, I'll tell you what, your speed got you ultimately to a second place, Sam.
Can you believe it?
Well, you only got one more spot. Maybe one of these days you'll be the one to catch Greg and Peyton Howell when he's here. But congratulations on that second place, Sam. You've asked it before, but now we're going to ask it of you. You get the mic. Friends, families, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours.
Well, I'm gonna try to get through this. Thank you for this opportunity. I was so excited about my podium finish earlier in the season, and I'm not going to miss my opportunity tonight. And so I just want to give a shout out that we are really racing hard for my friend John Van Varelis, who we lost, and I'm missing. And he was supposed to be here and racing with us, and so he is racing with us in our hearts. His twin brother Charles, who watches every single one of these races religiously, and he is rooting for us. And so, Charles, I know you're watching. We love you, and we miss John, and we're hoping that we can keep his name alive in some way, shape, form, or fashion here on iRacing. I just can't say enough about my friendship with him for over 20-something years. I also want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Black Acid Racing Apparel. They are tremendous folks. They do amazing work. If you want to find someone who can do your racing apparel and meet your needs, Black Acid Racing Apparel will help you out greatly. And then, of course, my DVD teammates. What a drive! You want to talk to somebody about a drive? Lewis Hayes was a pinball all night long, and then turns around and finishes in sixth place. What a tremendous effort and resilience from Lewis Hayes, and Ryan and Greg are just tremendous teammates and friends, and I couldn't ask for a better group of people that I'm partnering with in this season here in the AMA. And then, of course, Murphy, I do miss my time in the booth with you, but you and Caleb are doing a fantastic job at P1, and I'm very grateful to go back and watch these events and hear you guys commentate. I'm sure you had a lot to talk about tonight.
It's my pleasure doing it, Sam. As you know, I go on vacation next week though, so Friday night you're gonna get real. You're gonna finally get somebody that's competent. Gary Godso will be in here.
Gary Godso.
He'll be doing a truck race. So you'll get to have him.
I think I did one with him last year, and then he said, "I'm just going to let you do the commentary." I'm like, Gary, no.
He is definitely an open wheel guy, but
yeah,
it's always fun. We should have him do a couple of these every so often, just for variety. Broaden his horizons a little bit, But
no, I think Caleb's doing a fantastic job. I really do.
He is, my man. He is. Well, we thank you so much for stopping in, Sam. Congratulations on the second place finish. We're going to keep you in here, and we're going to bring Greg Evans along.
Okay.
Sometimes when we get teammates that run 1-2 or two teammates on the podium, we bring them in together. And so we'll bring in Greg Evans. You've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear, and Sam in the booth. We're going to bring up a stat here, Greg, and we're going to put it on the board. 249 of 251 laps led, which means you led all but 2 under green flag action. What made you so dominant tonight?
I think just the ability to really roll the bottom. I really I spent a lot of time and a lot of laps here at Martinsville, and just kind of been able to find a groove here. I know where I want to be. I know what times I want to run, how I want to run my own race. We had some pushing there from the 27, and Ryan was really fast too. But I kind of just was able to just kind of stay in my rhythm. There was a few times where I had to push a little bit harder just to kind of keep that gap. But just was able to settle in and just kind of run our own race all night, and the cautions just kind of fell where we wanted to, and we still had a set of tires left, so just had a good night.
You did indeed. Caleb, what do you have for Greg Evans tonight?
So, and Sam, you can answer his question, but too. But me and Murph are a bit split on this opinion here, and we need a decision here on what the actual right opinion is. What is your guys' opinion on the Martinsville hot dog?
Oh man, I love them.
Caleb, no, wait a minute, Caleb. I am gonna say I was a little disappointed in the interview earlier that you didn't ask my favorite flavor of wing. But this beats it. This beats it.
I need to know Greg Evans' opinion on the hot dog, because your team, the head of your team, Mike Rigney, is known for his love of.
That's a corn dog. That is totally different.
He's known.
That's a Richmond corn dog.
Yeah, but look,
corn dog.
Look, what I'm saying is Mike Rigney is known for his love of hot dogs in a bun, deep fried, breaded hot dogs, all sorts. So, Greg, I love Martinsville hot dogs. Brashear doesn't like them. What say you?
I've been there several times. Usually I'll gather about 10 hot dogs before the race, and I'll hang on to them and eat them during the race. But whenever I was officiating, we'd always make sure we got some and took them to the tower and had something to eat before we called the race. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Martinsville hot dogs. I'm good as long as nobody turns them sideways and trying to eat them sideways. We're good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't eat them sideways. We'll get you. My thing is, so Rigney says he's coming to Chicago for the Sim Gaming Expo, so we're gonna get him some Chicago deep dish pizza and an ice cold Mick Ultra in the hospitality suite during that one. We'll get him fed.
Courtesy of Mark Murphy.
That's right. We're gonna have to clear off Brashear's bed since he's sleeping on the dining room table.
Yeah, I've been to Chicago and had some deep dish pizza, and it's pretty good. So,
It most.
I'd,
Go ahead.
no, I'd love to make it up there. Me and Sam talked about coming. We just have it's kind of still a little far out to make plans, but man, I'd love to come up there and take part of that and meet everybody.
It's definitely a good time, Greg, and you definitely had a good time tonight. Wire to wire, pretty much for the win. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. You've got the floor.
Yeah, like always, got to thank Sim Magic, Simshop, Sim Labs, Freightliner. Thank all those guys. Thank my DVD Motorsports guys. I felt so bad for Ron. I had no idea what even happened till I was coming back around, and they were talking about it, and I'm like, so what actually happened there, Ron? So, man, I thought we had a 1, 2, 3 there, but man, super proud of Lewis Hayes. Man, he was beaten and bruised, and not, and we kept just telling him, man, just stay with it. You know, sometimes it's better to have a little bit of engine damage here at Martinsville. You're able to, really roll the corner and mat the throttle and not burn your tires up. So, man, just super proud of him. He stuck with it, and all of a sudden we look back, and I'm like, Lewis, what are you doing in 6th place? so just super proud of him, man. It's when stuff like that happens and you get multiple wrecks, it's easy to park the car and quit and just be done for tonight. But he stuck with it, and he had something to show for it. So super proud of him. And thank you guys again for broadcasting from P1. You guys do an awesome job. And like I said, it's always fun to go back and see what really happens and see the stuff that you don't get to see while you're in the race car. So appreciate you guys doing that for us.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate your efforts. And Greg, we appreciate you stopping by. Sam, Greg, keep going fast and having fun, boys. I will see you Thursday night. Wednesday
got
night.
Got one more thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, gotta thank and just remember John Van Varellis, man. He's the reason we're doing this all this season. I know his brother is Charles watching, and we appreciate him tuning in. And just I just love winning, knowing that he's watching and who we're doing it for. And hopefully we can get a couple other guys from our team in Victory Lane, or at least in the broadcast. And just appreciate you guys. And like I said, thank you, Charles, for watching. And like always this year, JV78.
Amen.
I definitely echo those sentiments. It's my honor to race with you guys when I can make it on Wednesday nights. But for now, keep going fast, having fun, and we'll see you at the next one.
All right, but see you guys. Appreciate it.
Guys. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. That's Sam Crow and Greg Evans. They've run 1 and 2 tonight for the DVD Motorsports crew. That team 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 6th in the final order. And Caleb, Greg Evans dominates, but we still, again, that battle from 6th through 9th was among the best that I've seen in a good long while.
Yeah, there was another midfield fight to the end. Kind of got separated at the right at the end there, but it was a very exciting battle that we saw throughout the race between Crash Neon, Trevor Ryan, and Hayes, and even Dunwoody at the beginning of that fight. And that's kind of one of the things we saw here throughout the night. A lot of that middle to rear end of the pack, we saw really, really good scraps for positions there. And even at the front, we saw good battles between Blade and Edwards when he was still in the race. Unfortunately, his disconnect could have probably made something really, really exciting for the end there with Sam Crow and Ryan O'Donohue. So, but it was a very interesting race, and I look forward to our next one at Rockingham.
Absolutely. Speaking of the next one, we've got a full slate here on P1. We are off tomorrow, and then we're going to pretty much have a broadcast every night for the foreseeable future. Saturday, it is the iRacing IndyCar Series presented by 4D Raceware. That's going to go off at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Sunday, it's a doubleheader. The Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series at 2 o'clock. They are at Las Vegas. And the nightcap, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, the Dark Horse CW12 Series, presented by 40 Raceware, goes at 8. On Monday night, it's another doubleheader. The IndyCar Open Series Top Split at 8 o'clock is at Texas. And at 10, it's the Indy Next Road Series Monday Night Top Split. They are from Suzuka. Tuesday, we've got a triple header. It's the IndyCar Oval Series Tuesday Night Top Split from Pocono at 8:15. At 9:30, you've got your choice. It's the Indy Next Oval Series Tuesday Night Top Split from Oswego. And the Area 51 Season 20 Round number 9. It's the oldest continuously run IndyCar series in iRacing. 20 seasons. They'll be on at 9:30 from Iowa. Wednesday, the Horizon IndyCar Series is at Chicagoland. They'll go at 8. The Formula Super Series is at Hockenheimring. They're going to go at 8:20. That brings us right back here. Next Thursday night, it's the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series, round number 8. 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. Mark Murphy, Caleb Brashear will bring you the race from Rockingham. We do want to thank all the drivers on the track for bringing us this wonderful show. We want to thank all the fans in the stands for watching and for your participation. Remember, if you haven't already done it, hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. But we also want to thank the people that really make it possible: the military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance. And Caleb, whether it's a hockey injury, you got hurt playing basketball, baseball, or they're driving you to the hospital to cut your uniform off, the nurse that unloads you when you get there, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all. We will see you Saturday for the iRacing IndyCar Series at Barber. Good night, everybody.